Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You like that? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into the Film Guy Network. Took a week off for the first time since we built this studio back in last July. Super excited to be back on air as we usually are when we take a good 10 days off. That's how long it was, and it felt like 2 months, boys. I don't know how y'all felt about it, but that's how I felt about it. Spent some time at the beach, had a good July 4th. Hope everyone else had a tremendous July 4th as well. Happy birthday, America. Guys, I didn't even get a hot dog until I got back. They were selling them outside of Kroger, and I was like, you know what? I'll buy a random hot dog off the Kroger vending guy. Yeah. So I don't know why I had to throw the hot dog observation in there, but I don't know. I just felt like I was missing something on my July 4th weekend because I didn't have a good, hot dog. Yeah. I felt like that was. Did Joey Chestnut end up glizzy in the gobbles?
No, he did, but not for the Nathan's competition.
He did his own.
Well, he did like some other. I mean, they do hot dog competitions all over the country, so he did like a different one.
He didn't do the main event.
That's a bold strategy by old Joey Chestnut right there, signing a deal with someone other than Nathan's hot dog. Nonetheless, welcome into tonight's show. We have a loaded one for you. I want to start with this right here. Okay, I can tell your preferences by your actions, right? It's pretty simple. If you want to know what someone likes or dislikes, just watch how they act. Watch their actions. Watch their choices. Watch their decisions. You'll know a little bit more about them. You want to know what someone thinks they are capable of? Well, again, watch their actions. If you want to know if someone consistently chooses the easier path or if someone avoids challenges that might present themselves if they were to choose the more difficult path, well, pay attention. They'll let you know right there in their actions. We got a little bit of intel on where Lincoln Riley, head coach at USC, tends to lean in this category of departments of actions and choices with regards to avoiding challenges. Joe Castiglione is the athletic director at Oklahoma. He was on SEC Network this weekend, and he and the school president, Joe Haraz, were on SEC Network, and they had this to say about the move of Oklahoma from the Big 12 to the SEC. Quote, "I will tell you without reservation, every coach that we talked to," talking about the Oklahoma coaches they had on staff, every coach that we talked to was super excited. And you know what? The ones that weren't, well, they aren't here anymore. You either accept it or not. This is Oklahoma. Get with it or get on with it. The president of the university, after the athletic director said that on national television, basically said like, "Ooh, that's a mic drop." He's like, "That's what we call a mic drop around here." So the president was more than willing to jump in and kind of add on to this subliminal shot, which is what it was. It was very subliminal. Most people didn't really put two and two together until the aggregates got to it. They're like, "Oh, damn, this is a clickbait story right here." The athletic director just shit on Lincoln Riley. So it's all over the place, right? That Lincoln Riley was the only coach, or at least one of the only coaches at Oklahoma to kind of, raise questions about the idea of Oklahoma going to the SEC. And boys, I got to tell you, I think Lincoln Riley might be a little afraid of the SEC. Did you know that Lincoln Riley is 1-3 against the conference? All postseason games, this 1-3 record resides in. Do you know who the one win is? I'll tell you the 3 losses, and I want the chat to join in here as well. The 3 losses: Alabama, double digits in the Sugar Bowl; Georgia, OT, Rose Bowl; LSU, blown the doors off in the first half. Those are the 3 losses from Lincoln Riley to the SEC programs. So who's the one win?
Was it Tennessee in 2016? No, because he wasn't there for that.
He wasn't there yet. That was still Bobby Stoops. Do you got one for me?
Dude, I can't even. Golly.
Was it it was a regular season or a postseason?
This was a bowl game, a non-college football playoff bowl game.
New Year's Six bowl game?
Believe so at the time, yes.
Okay.
The chat says Mizzou. Mizzou is not the answer.
Not a bad one.
I'll give you a huge hint right here, and it should solve everything. The losing coach after this football game went to the microphone and said, "Our season ended a month ago. We don't give a shit about bowl games."
It was Florida.
It was Florida.
In
Dan
2020.
Mullen is the lone SEC loss to Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. Has not played an SEC school since he went to USC. It's not a great time to be Lincoln Riley, I'll be honest with you. The 2 seasons he's had at USC would be the worst seasons he ever had at Oklahoma. Did you know during his time at Oklahoma, I think he spent 5 years there. During the 5 seasons as the head coach at Oklahoma, he never lost more than 2 football games.
Was that including postseason?
That's including postseason. Wow. His worst career season at Oklahoma was a 12-2 year. And he hadn't had anything close to that. He had a 9-3 season, 1 year with Caleb Williams, and then last year, an 8-5 season. So it hasn't quite added up to what it was out there at Oklahoma, even at USC. You got a weird look on your face.
Didn't they win? I felt like they won 11-1 in the regular season of 2020.
He's got 11-3. Excuse me.
Okay.
He went 11-3 because they lost the bowl game.
Because he lost the last game to Utah and then he lost the bowl game.
Correct.
That's what it was.
So that is the 3 losses. But nonetheless,
still not as good. Not
nearly as good as what he was putting on the wins and loss records out there at Oklahoma. It's not a great time. I don't think, however, that Oklahoma's athletic director is out here dropping mics on SEC Network if Lincoln Riley were still on the mountaintop of coaches. No. And this is a direct sign of, hey, Lincoln ain't one of those anymore. You know what I mean? Lincoln is not one of these top 10, top 5 football coaches in college football, so much so that his former athletic director's out here taking shots. I got a question for you, though. If Lincoln Riley, if we believe this to be true, which we'll get to in a second, first of all, let's start there. Do you think Lincoln Riley really was scared of the SEC?
Absolutely.
The timing made it definitely seem like he was.
And even when he left to go to USC, everybody's like, he don't want none of that SEC smoke. I am more prone to believe the athletic director when he comes out here and says, hey, we have one coach that was out here like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, well, I mean,
we don't need to be doing this.
Also, remember, that was the time when the LSU job was wide open and people were saying Lincoln Riley's going to LSU. And so much so that he's like, I'm not going to LSU. And he turns around. It was actually kind of surprising for him to go to USC. So, yeah, absolutely. I think he kind of didn't want anything to do with the SEC.
All right, so if he really was afraid of the SEC, if that was the deciding point, other than, hey, it's LA, hey, it's a Rays, hey, I get to live in the mountaintops of Southern California and all this good stuff, great weather, all that shit. If it wasn't that, if it was indeed he was afraid of the SEC, do you think he was happy about USC going to the Big Ten?
No, not at all.
I don't think so either. In fact, I think it might even be worse for Lincoln in the Big Ten than it would have been for Lincoln in the SEC. And here's why. If he's in the SEC, he's in proximity to all of the big fellas, all of them. He's in the SEC circles. His 5-hour radius is filled with much larger human beings, right? Which is what it requires down here in this conference. If you want to watch what the difference is between SEC football and Big 12 football, just watch the lines of scrimmage on Saturdays, right? And then watch the lines of scrimmage on draft day when they're selected, because offensive and defensive linemen in the SEC are drafted at a much higher capita than they are in other conferences. That's just what it is, right? However, I don't think the Big Ten's just like way easier, because if you look at the Big Ten just from a holistic standpoint, what are they known for? Defense. That's what they're known for. They are known for defense. So much so, and I know the offenses sucked terribly last year in the Big Ten, but if you look at the top 20 defenses last year in college football, shit, half of them are from the Big Ten, Jay Will. Is that not correct?
Yeah, there was like 5 of them, because I remember there was a stat of like, there's like 6 teams in the top 25 defenses for the Big Ten, and then it was like there's also 6 offenses that are ranked in the bottom half of the offensive rankings as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that joke, I feel like once a year of a Big Ten game where it's punt, interception, punt, missed field goal, and it's like 7-3 at the half. Like there's always that you have. So yeah, Big Ten's definitely known for their defenses and not as much for good offenses. I mean, look at Iowa.
Look at Iowa's always the ending point on that one. The SEC, I agree, it's not much more difficult conference. It is the premier conference in college football.
For sure.
However, running from the SEC to the Pac-12, because it's an offensive-based conference, and it's USC and all that good stuff, well, all that gets thrown by the wayside the moment you come to the Big Ten, a notoriously defensive-led conference. What do you think his argument was? What do you think he was telling athletic directors at Oklahoma? Hey, don't take that additional $35 million a year annually from the SEC. Don't go over there. We want to stay here. Why? What would have been his argumentative point?
I mean, I guess one of the best ones is look at what Missouri and Texas A&M have done. They haven't sniffed a playoff since they got there. Like, they haven't won the conference since they got there. Missouri competed in it for a couple of years. Like, if you want to go to this conference and be a middle of the road, now granted, Oklahoma's a bigger program than A&M and Missouri are, but you would still have to try much harder to succeed than you would just staying in the Big 12 and doing what you did every year, where hey, you can still lose to a Kansas State and still go to the Big 12 game.
Plus, I mean, at the time, every single year it was Oklahoma's going to be the team representing the Big 12 in the college football playoff, whereas you go to the SEC, Alabama's in contention for it every year, Georgia's in contention for it every year, and you might get a third team too that's kind of flirting with it a little bit. I mean, the door was wide. I mean, this is also too when Texas was still figuring things out. It is not the Steve Sarkisian Texas that it just became. I mean, it was a down time for Texas. So I mean, door was wide open for Oklahoma every single year.
Yeah, I think the argument on Lincoln Riley's behalf in this discussion with the athletic department about coming to SEC was pretty simple. We're the big fish, or at least one of the two big fishes in this conference. I don't want to go be a regular fish in a massive pond out there in the SEC. To hell with that. I never have to battle these guys except for speedy receivers out in Florida. That's it. That's the only time I have to see these guys on the recruiting trail. Now you want me to play them every year and you want me to be in their conference? It's a big hell no for me.
Travel could also play a part. Like, hey, why would we have to go to play to South Florida to play a regular season game twice a year or something like that? So,
well, enjoy traveling to Rutgers.
Exactly. Hey,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's no way he didn't have the foresight that USC was going to the Big Ten. I just highly doubt that when he took that job, he didn't know.
No, I mean, the Pac-12 was like the Pac-12 for years was like, we're a very straight conference. We have our own deals. We're nothing to worry about here. We're going to do everything the right way. I mean, even in 2020, they were talking about that, and it just collapsed very quickly. So I don't think he would have gone to the Pac-12 had he known that everything was going on.
It is kind of funny, though, how it's come full circle for him, because you went to a conference that you're kind of in a similar situation that you were in the Big 12, not in the sense of USC was a top dog every single year like Oklahoma was in the Big 12, but you walked into a conference that was very much wide open and was looking for somebody to be this national title contender. And I think Lincoln Riley saw the opportunity of, well, I can translate what I do here out to USC without a doubt, because, I mean, like you mentioned, it's an offensive-led conference. And now you're in a conference that you essentially were trying to avoid anyways. It doesn't have the same label or the same logo, but it kind of has the same foundation principles.
The worst part about all this for him, I think, is that he's kind of burnt the bridge for him going to the NFL. Like, there's not really an appeal for him to be an NFL coach. I mean,
not as a head coach.
Maybe as a coordinator, but I mean, is that even a lateral move at that point?
One of the articles I read, and we're going to talk about here in a second, is how much of a fall Lincoln has had, because you're sitting here right there saying that, when I felt like every 6 months he was the leading candidate to take the Dallas Cowboys job forever.
Yes.
And now it's like, well, you know, we're going to get to it, but one of the biggest names in the sport just fired him. So we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Welcome into tonight's show. Super glad to be back. Based off the chat and based off some of the comments we're seeing there, you guys missed us. It's great to be missed. It's great to be wanted. It's certainly great to be missed. That it confirms the want and the need for your product. So glad that you guys missed us a little bit. We missed you as well. We do have indeed a loaded show for you guys tonight. That hot take artist I was telling you about, one of the biggest voices in the sport, Paul Finebaum, fired a major head football coach today. Shane Beamer is reeling really bad out there at South Carolina. We're going to talk about that tonight. On the flip end of the reeling discussion, Oregon is just reeling them right in. Two forms and two uses of the words reeling right
Very
there,
nice.
boys. Reeling them in on the recruiting trail. Oregon staying hot. Utah is ready for the post-Kyle Whittingham days. Utah making the show notes. How about them? Don't think they'll love it by the end of the night segment. SEC Media Day order has been brought to us as well, so we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. But first and foremost, I want to ask you guys to like, subscribe, rate, and review. We're almost to 23,000 subscribers. If you guys could get us to that before the season, get us to that Jordan year, that'd be ideal. I envision by the end of the football season somewhere around 30,000 subscribers. I think is a good little, kind of goal to set for ourselves there. So shout out to that. Make sure you like and subscribe and rate, review. And stats say about 80% of you guys, y'all just watch us. I love that you watch us. I would love if you subscribe as well, okay, and hit that thumbs up button as well. I also want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. Okay, if you haven't already, head over to prizepicks.com, use promo code Brooks. You get a 100% deposit match, got a spitter under the floor. What does that mean? You put up to $100, you'll instantly get matched with $100 right there in your account over on Prize Picks, only using promo code Brooks. Okay, that is BROOKS, not spelt with an E like most of my substitute teachers thought that it was growing up. Welcome in, boys. How was your time off? Did you enjoy it?
I spent a lot of time on the lake, just hung out.
Lake over beach, 100%.
Yes, I agree.
We're all here. Oh, you're a little waffling on me right there. I don't like that.
I mean, I like both of them a lot, but I think I do beach a little bit different than most people beach.
What do you mean by that?
do tell.
Well, I do if I go on the lake, I like to fish, but I fish at the beach too. And I think that the beach is a little more relaxing. Like I prefer, like my vacation, I would just rather sit there, do what I want, and just, whereas the lake, it's a little busy, kind of got to do some things and have some fun.
If I'm going to the beach, I'm either playing spike ball or digging a hole.
Yeah, see, I don't want to do that. I just want to sit there.
That's all the two things.
Digging a hole?
Bro.
Just digging a hole?
You
just looked at me like, bro, you ain't never digged a hole before.
You ever dug a hole on the beach?
You ever dug a hole on the beach,
It's
bro?
so much fun.
We don't know what you're missing.
Then you put a towel over that hole and watch people fall in it.
All right, look, the chat's all over it. The beach can kiss my ass compared to the lake because of the sand. I almost called a mental health facility this past week.
Oh, yeah?
On someone that was staying with us. He shall not be named, but he knows who he is. Buddy came down to the beach in socks.
My grandpa does that.
And claimed that the sand made his feet, he just didn't like the sand. And so we added it into a sandy sock. I think there's a top 5 of worst feelings in the world. One obviously, and I'm not in any order. Stepping in dog shit, terrible feeling. Awful. Wet sock. Ooh, a wet sock. Get out of here. Wet socks suck. Wet sandy socks, put me in the grave, dude. Go ahead.
Did he wear them did he wear them into the water after?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Can't be doing that.
I don't know about that one.
I'm telling you, I almost had to call. Hey, I got a crazy one down here. I think he got out. Y'all need to come check on him because absolute insanity. But yeah, got a great show for you guys. Glad to be back. Paul Finebaum. I told y'all a couple weeks ago after he buried Dabo Swain. He said he's never coming back. They might be a three loss program. They might win 10 games in a year. Pat on the back. They'll be okay, but they'll never be great again. They'll probably have to fire him. All my Clemson buddies seem to believe the same thing. That was Finebaum about 3 weeks ago. So already cooked Dabo. I feel, y'all ever seen that gif of Dave Chappelle where he's like, gotcha, bitch.
Oh yeah,
I feel like Dave Chappelle right now because Lincoln Riley, get on back here. We finna cook your ass some more. Lincoln Riley got fired by Paul Finebaum today. And I'm going to read you some quotes because I thought I was done. Gotcha. Here we go. Quote, I don't think Lincoln Riley has a path back. And what we all sensed on Monday, talking about the Oklahoma stuff that we just got done talking about, was real. This wasn't just a, quote, beat up the coach. I mean, listen, we all lived through that 20 years ago at Alabama when Dennis Francione left. This is even more stark because Lincoln Riley was popular, Finebaum said. I mean, he was beloved by Oklahoma people. He had taken that program to 3 playoffs and a couple of Heisman Trophy winners. And he just clearly tucked and ran. He continued, in the parlance of college sports, running away from something is probably the worst look, and that's how they feel about him. And this is an incredibly proud program that has been at the pinnacle of the sport for 100 years. This is what I told you to start the show. If you want to, what did I say? If you want to, if you want to tell the preferences of an individual, just pay attention to their actions. The preference for Lincoln Riley is the easier path. Finebaum just confirmed that in his opinion as well. Leaving and running from the SEC was a major problem, and it is a stain that is probably going to hang on Lincoln Riley for a little bit. But that's not the hot take. Okay, this is the hot take. Quote, it's not a matter of wishing him bad luck out there. That's already happened. And if you look at the reality, the number of players that are bailing on Lincoln Riley in Southern California is startling. I've always thought he was a good offensive coach, or a good coach, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But I don't think anybody today views him in the same realm. And quite frankly, I think he'll be out at Southern Cal by the end of the season.
Out as in like fired?
As in fired, as in see ya, as in get out of here, we don't want you no more, as in you're not coaching here anymore. We're done. Which leads me to immediately, while you're about to go, immediately Google Lincoln Riley's buyout, because I don't even know if this is possible.
Well, do you also want to start looking for a new coach and have a first-year coach the second year you're in a new conference?
I think if this is going to be the measuring stick of whether or not we're firing coaches moving forward, buddy, I'm here to tell you, it ain't never going to be a good time to fire coaches.
Not right now.
Because college football is doing this. If it ain't conference changing, it's going to be NIL regulations. If it ain't conference changes, it's going to be college football playoff expansion. If it's not conference changes, it's going to be some type of new rule change where analysts can coach. This sport is constantly changing. If you're waiting for a safe time to fire a coach, you just ain't never going to find it.
Well, here's my question of not only just the question of, well, who are you going to hire, but I think you became I shouldn't say much less, but I think you became a less appealing job as soon as you joined the Big Ten, because now you're competing with an entirely different conference in a different section of the nation. So you're competing with those people in a sense for recruits and for players, because you have to be of that caliber. And there's a whole lot more traveling. And like, again, you're not in this conference where it's the Pac-12. USC is this massive top dog brand amongst these other programs in this conference. You're now in the Big Ten where you have Ohio State, you have Michigan. I mean, you have these other programs that kind of overshadow you right now. So you're not the same USC that you were when you went and got Lincoln Riley away from Oklahoma and you got him to be your head coach. I think it's a less appealing job. So I don't know who your pool of candidates would be if you got rid of Lincoln Riley.
I just looked it up. $88 million going into this season for the buyout.
Ouch.
If they were to fire him at the end of the year, I would imagine this year's salary, which he's the fourth highest paid coach in the sport. So after this year, that decreases by, I would imagine, about $12 million. So you're looking at, what's that, 76 mil to buy him out after this year. I highly doubt they do that.
No.
So I think this is a classic case of, not classic, he doesn't do this a ton, but this is a case of Finebaum saying something that he don't really know about, which is the fact that USC, who I wouldn't say is money tight right now, but everybody is money conscious, if you will. USC ain't about to be coming out with $76 million to get rid of the coach that they stole from one of the top 10 programs in the sport just 4 years ago.
What was Jimbo paid when he got fired?
Oh, Jimbo got 80. Yeah, Jimbo got 80, but that's Texas A&M oil money.
Yeah,
and you ain't. There's a different discussion. They care about football a lot more than USC Trojan fans do,
for sure.
And just the standard of excellence out there. What is the standard of excellence at USC right now? I mean, this is the best coach they've had since
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll, by far, right? It was Sark dealing with problems.
Right.
It was Clay Helton, who's now at Georgia Southern.
Lane Kiffin was in between that, yeah.
And Kiffin for like 18 months before they fired him on the tarmac. Like, we are, even at 9-3.
That's actually honestly insane.
It's an insane point to make right now on air, is the fact that Lincoln Riley at 9-3, 8-5 is the best football coach they've had in 20 years. That's crazy.
Retrospectively, when you had Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin, arguably two of the biggest candidates to be hired elsewhere, should they become available. Like, that's interesting to think about how the glow-ups that they've had. Lincoln Riley glow-up, question mark?
What was crazy? USC telling Lane Kiffin, hey, buddy, don't get on the team plane. You're fired. Or Arizona State's athletic director firing old former ESPN coach
Tony Dungy.
Tony Dungy. No,
not Tony Dungy.
The other,
what's his name? Gosh.
This is going to hurt us.
Shoot.
This is going to hurt.
What?
Coach. Either way, fired him on the field.
Yes.
In front of reporters. Yeah, the Jets, Herm Edwards. Jets head coach.
Herm Edwards.
Him and Tony Dungy do kind of look.
I don't know why they always kind of blend in my mind a little bit.
Yeah. Either way, which one's worse? Fired on the tarmac in front of no one. Everyone just hears about it. You had to take your own flight back home to pack your shit up. Or in front of everyone after final home game, AD met you on the field and was like, buddy, you're cooked. Don't even go to
on
post
the field.
Yeah, on the field.
On field.
That's worse. Like, they couldn't even give you any sort of grace period. It was like, we couldn't wait any longer to get you out of here.
Yeah, you can't even give a post-game speech after that.
That's horrible.
That's crazy. They got us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tony Dungy to Herm Edwards is no different than calling Ladd McConkey insert wide receiver.
Yeah.
We just did that one. So that's on us. Either way, where were we at?
Talking about Lincoln Riley.
Just a track.
I don't think they fire him this year,
I don't
but he's
either.
in trouble. And here's what might make me eat that $80 million. If they don't sign Julian Lewis, what in the earthly what is the plan? What are they going to do? The kid reclassed so he could get there quicker, or at least get to college quicker. Maybe not to get. Maybe you didn't have anything to do with that. Maybe you didn't influence him to do that. But that kid's in 2025 now, a class that you set out because he was going to be there in 26. Now he's in 25. And if you don't land him, where are y'all at? Seriously. And if you don't land him, since Caleb Williams, for the quarterback guru that Lincoln Riley is, apart from Malachi Nelson, who he whiffed on dramatically, was the last great quarterback signee that Lincoln Riley's had?
Jaden Maeva.
A transfer from UNLV that they had to overpay to get to flip from Georgia. It's crazy. It's crazy. The mighty have fallen in that one, because that is a guy that was in every. I feel like before he even became a head coach, he got put into that light of this guy's great. Wait till he takes over for Stoops, and he did. He was 12-2 first year. What was the look on your face?
You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think Lincoln Riley's ever really recruited a great
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, but he got him from A&M.
That's right. Spencer Rattler.
What did he do?
Caleb Williams was recruited.
Caleb Williams was recruited.
That'd be the last one.
That's fair.
That's
Brock
the last
Vandegrift
one.
did commit out there.
Yes.
He did.
You know what I mean?
But like Baker Mayfield was there when he got there.
Caleb's the last one.
Yes.
Caleb's the only one, really.
Yeah,
he's the only one. He's the only one who's truly recruited from high school.
If you look at Rattler and Nelson as not only an industry miss, but also a Lincoln Riley miss, then yes, Caleb is the only one.
That's interesting, because I mean, now granted, like, you've had 3 Heisman winning quarterbacks. You obviously know what you're doing at the position, but this idea that he's a quarterback guru that every recruit he touches like turns to gold, I don't know if that's necessarily is true.
We'll find out if Miller Moss throws for 4,200 this year.
True.
In a 7-5 year.
True.
I just think that it's the suddenness in his fall off is what is interesting to me, because it's like 3 years ago, it was Lincoln Riley, bona fide top 3 head coach, Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Lincoln Riley. Put him in any order you want. Nick Saban has to be number 1. Like that sort of discussion. To then just this offseason, it was Lincoln Riley going to follow Caleb Williams to the NFL. Oh, there's draw here. He could go there. Like, he's up for all these jobs. Like, there's serious discussions to now. Oh, you got to go be a coordinator after this year because you're going to be fired from USC and nobody's going to hire you as a head coach.
According to Finebaum.
According to Finebaum.
Not the show's opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
My opinion is if they don't sign Julian Lewis, that you need to be sending off fire alarms out there. But you can't eat $88 million.
No.
You can't eat $88 million. You just can't do it. So, yeah, there's that. Speaking of someone who's just down bad right now, from Lincoln to another coach that's out here reeling, and that is Shane Beamer. Shamari Earls, ladies and gentlemen, just flipped to the University of Georgia yesterday.
Yes.
Shamari Earls was the only Gamecock commit ranked anywhere near the top 250 in the consensus 24/7 rankings. Now, Shamari Earls is a UGA commit, meaning South Carolina, an SEC football program, has 16 commits, none of which are even ranked by the 24/7 consensus rankings. Got a couple 4 stars, majority of them 3 stars, but nonetheless, not great in terms of just the firepower that they got right now in the recruiting class. They do have bodies, and that's good, but their recruiting strategy is very, very simple and obvious to me. That recruiting strategy being, let's sign everyone in the state of South Carolina that's worth a salt. They're doing that. They're doing a decent job of that. They're losing the big battles in that state, as they pretty much do in that state with that program, no matter what. It's not one of these top 8 recruiting bases. It's not going to be. However, this ain't great. Let's sign everyone in the state of South Carolina that's worth the salt. And then let's take the SEC players that great schools don't want. Let me explain that. I'm the Georgia guy, right? I live here in the state of Georgia. I see as many high school players as I possibly can here in the state of Georgia. Let's talk about the 4 high school commits from the state of Georgia that South Carolina has in the 2025 class, all 4 of which I've seen in person, all 4 of which I've evaluated. Okay, let's take a look. Jaden Breaker, great high school edge player from South Gwinnett. He is an SEC football player. However, he's 3 inches short of being a Georgia football player, maybe 2.5. He's 3 inches short, maybe 2.5 of being an Alabama LSU. insert Texas, Oklahoma. He's short of being those football players. About 6'2", about 215, which means he's also about 30 pounds shy of being a committable player at those conference schools that they have to play against. Kobe Saki Pra, an edge rusher out of Roswell High School. Kobe probably would have ended up at one of these elite programs, right? One of these elite programs. However, tore a knee up and also 6'3", 220. So he's about 2 inches short and about 30 pounds short of being an edge rusher at one of these quote-unquote premier programs. Chris Hatfield. Most people don't know this story. Chris Hatfield is a football player that I'm not going to take credit for discovering, but kind of did, right? I was down there at a Calvary Day Longshore High School football game in South Georgia on my way to Jacksonville to watch the Georgia-Florida game. And all of a sudden, I see this 6'2.5", 185-pound gazelle running around, looking really, really smooth and athletic, playing for Long County. And I'm like, who in the hell is this? Coach said no offers. The next day, mid-major offer. The next day, Power 5 offer. Bang, 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 bang. Now he's committed to South Carolina. And guess what? He probably a 4.65 runner. Maybe a 4.7 runner. He's just a little too slow to play at the great SEC programs. So he's going to South Carolina. He's going to be great at South Carolina. Okay? A.J. Holloway, a Buford linebacker. A.J. Holloway is big. A.J. Holloway is physical. A.J. Holloway is nasty. A.J. Holloway, probably a 4.85 runner. A.J. Holloway kind of lacks some elite twitch. So all of these players in the state of Georgia, and by the way, every single one of their commits in their class, you can say the same exact thing. That guy's missing an inch. That guy's just a tad too slow. Ooh, he's an 11.2 runner. We need him to be a 10.8 runner. All of their commits are just like this, okay, across the board. Except for Shamari Earls. Shamari Earls stuck out like a sore thumb. Shamari Earls is a 6'2", 205-pound corner that runs 10.8 in the 100. No offense, based off how they're recruiting, Shamari Earls really didn't belong in this South Carolina crop of football players. He kind of belongs in Georgia's crop of football players. And that's kind of where it is right now when you have a football coach on the hot seat. And guess what? It was like this before he was even on the hot seat. What they were doing was signing a good class and then doing everything they could to sign one blue chipper, Nick Harbor, Dylan Stewart, right? Those were their blue chippers. Maybe Shamari Earls in this class probably is a blue chip guy based off the physical tangibles I just read you. By the way, he has an elite social media team. Whoever's doing Shamari Earls' digital content, oh my God, they do great stuff. Anyways, this is the MO for programs who aren't going to cut it, right? Guess who else was doing this at South Carolina?
Will Muschamp.
Will Muschamp. Mm-hmm. Will Muschamp recruited the same exact way. Will Muschamp came down to Atlanta and said, hey, who don't Georgia want? I'm going to take all of you, right? And they just didn't pan out for him up there at South Carolina. And I don't think it's going to pan out at South Carolina for Shane Beamer. And the way I can tell is the fan base is kind of teetering on him already.
Right. I mean, I think we've pretty much all established that Shane Beamer's likely not going to be the head coach at South Carolina, and for reasons that we've explained ad nauseum here. But what is the path to success for any coach in South Carolina? Because you can't recruit with the Georgias and the Alabamas and the Tennessees or even just the big boys of the world. And kind of we've established now that doing what has been done for the past two coachings where you take the scraps doesn't really work out either. So what is the path to success?
I think it's the same path Eli's gotten up at Missouri. Now, at least for this window of college football, I don't know what the next iteration is going to look like when sanctions come in and regulations on NIL come in and all the good stuff we've been clamoring for a while, all the settling of the chaos. Once it comes in, I don't know if this statement will be as pertinent, but right now it is. You got to be able to get buy-in right now at higher rates than ever before as a college football coach, and that's what Eli has done up there at Missouri. He has walked into those boardrooms and he has walked into those recruiting rooms and he has forced those big-time boosters to believe in the stuff that he is selling. And that will get money in your pocket. And I think, and matter of fact, I know Shane had this for a brief time at South Carolina. How else do you sign Nick Harbor over Ohio State? You know what I'm saying? How else do you sign Dylan Stewart over everybody in the country? These guys weren't going to Columbia, South Carolina just because you're a great recruiter, or else you'd still be a great recruiter. These people were probably going to South Carolina due to some endorsements, if you will. Those endorsements, I would imagine, would be drastically cut based off the fact that they think they're going to fire your ass in a couple of months. And this is kind of a side transition into a talking point here, which is we talked about a pre-show. I think you're going to know what coaches are on the hot seat based off collective endorsements. And we can see this, right? It's like a super PAC. If we don't believe you're going to be the presidential candidate, we ain't throwing money into your congressional or your campaign. We're just not going to do it. So if we don't think you're going to be our head coach, we're not going to throw money into your recruiting campaign right now. So your collective budget's going to be dry. You're going to have to recruit in-state kids, and you're not going to be in the picture for national powerhouse recruits like you were previously. And I'm not saying they were signing 4 or 5 of them every class, but they did manage to keep the big Cam Pringle, offensive tackle inside South Carolina last year. They got him over Georgia. They got him over Ohio State. They got him over Tennessee. How? See what I'm saying? Like we don't have to. That's what's great about where we're at right now. It sucks, but it's great. I don't have to feel bad about saying, oh, well, you must have been able to pay there and you could not pay here, or you were paying there and now you don't pay. So we can see the drastic decline. All right. And all it takes is to go out and win. If you go out and win, you change these things. But it definitely takes buyout in those booster meeting rooms.
I'm going to do some slight defending of Shane Beamer right now.
Oh, Lord.
Just a little bit.
You like giving the feet for free or something?
No. Not defending any of those actions.
How many people listen to this show that hear the feet for free jokes and have no idea what I'm talking about?
Increasingly more every week.
Probably 30%.
But you think 30%? I think it's higher than that. I think it's more than 50. I think even the day-to-day listeners, some of them forget that Shane Beamer gives the feet for free.
Yeah, he does.
So go ahead.
But anyways, I'm in this boat of I think Shane Beamer is done. Obviously it has not worked out, but it's also hard for me to sit here and criticize Shane Beamer for the job he's done at South Carolina when I don't think that South Carolina hired the right guy to do this, and I don't think Shane Beamer fit all of their requirements. I think this more is maybe an unjust action of the university itself in hiring Shane Beamer, like a guy that didn't have any coordinating experience. Like he did not have this long resume of proof that he could do something like this. Special teams experience. That's fantastic.
Hey, Shane Beamer's stand up. He's done what offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators don't do, which is lead a room with the entire team in it.
And that's what
special teams is.
And that's my exact point. I don't think Shane Beamer's a bad coach. I think he's a bad head coach. And not everybody is cut out to be an SEC head coach. And not everybody is cut out to meet these requirements to be a competitive, build up a program in the SEC not everybody's cut from that cloth. And Shane Beamer just isn't. So I don't know that it's Shane Beamer's just as bad coach or he isn't trying. I don't think it's a lack of effort or anything like that. He is putting in effort. He is trying. I just don't think he's cut out to be a head coach, and that is fine. There are plenty of people in this business who are just not cut out to be a head coach. Shane Beamer, I think, is just one of them.
I don't even know if I would consider that defending Shane Beamer. I think I would agree with everything you just said. It's just, the reality is, if you're not cut out to do the job, you're not going to be doing the job very long.
It's actually not a bad buyout. They have to pay him 65% of his annual income for the extent of his contract. And I think he has a 5-year deal that he signed back in 4 years ago.
What's he make annually?
At the time, 2.75, but I think he just recently got a raise. I'm telling you, it's nothing.
That's nothing.
Oh, well, he just got a $4 million raise.
Dude,
so he's making 6.5 annually right now, and his buyout's 65% of that. And his contract is through 2027. So he doesn't have a lengthy contract like most of these coaches. Most of these coaches are signed through like 2030.
Yeah.
So it ain't. What I'm saying is, it ain't that bad.
Yeah.
They'd have to eat what's 65% of 6.5 million?
Like $4 million.
Yeah, you'd have to eat $4 million for 3 years.
Oh no.
That's oh no is right. It's a $12 million buyout as opposed to the $88 million buyout we just got done talking about.
Yeah.
I also think that it's a little bit. I could be totally off base here. Columbia, South Carolina ain't broke. I ain't never met somebody from Columbia, South Carolina that wasn't living well. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's money up there, and nowadays, if there's money, there's access to talent if you can go get the money. So there's that. I think we've done enough of.
It is crazy to think they almost had Kirby Smart.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Like they were just
how different with
a day away from potentially being one of these programs.
I do want to refresh the audience because there's a collective 1,200 people watching right now, almost 1,300. They played North Carolina to start the season. 10 days before playing North Carolina, a rival of South Carolina, in an opening season game, Shane Beamer invited Brad Crawford of 24/7 Sports. No, it was a Brad?
I don't know if it's Brad.
Either way, it's a bald guy. Didn't rank Notre Dame in his top 25.
He invited a bald guy.
Anyways, invited a 24/7 Sports reporter down to his program to just observe him for a day and write a glowing review about Shane Beamer and this awesome leader he is. In this article, it was revealed that Shane Beamer walks around his office barefoot all day long, okay? And some flippy floppies that he kicks off. And then he kicks his feet up on the desk, bare hoofed. Okay, that's Shane Beamer. That wasn't the worst part. The worst part to me of this article, Marcelo, shout out to the chat. The worst part about this article was the fact that it was 10 days before the biggest game, the biggest opening season game he's had in quite a while, that he lost, gave up 17 million sacks. The worst part about this article was that in this article, Brandon Marcello talks about how during his workday, the head football coach at an SEC program sat down and I think the quote was, just shot the bull for 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. It blew my mind when this happened. A, you're giving the feet for free. B, 2.5 hours to just shoot the shit with a reporter 10 days before a Power 5 rival is played at a neutral site game. I could not see any other head football coach doing this. Not a successful one. I could not see a really, really successful head football coach doing this at all. Hell, Kirby. Never mind. I ain't even got to make it about Kirby. None of them are doing it. None of them are doing it. Ryan Day don't do this. Ryan Day sits down with Joel Klatt every year because Fox makes him. But he ain't doing this. This was absurd. This was, please come write nice things about me. I'll give you access to my program. And no winning head football coach does this.
He needed a puff piece, man.
He did. He needed he should have saved that shit for this year.
Oh, no. If he'd done it this year, it would have been hellfire.
You're right. After an 8-5 season, we got Spencer Rattler for year 2. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
A little more
it was great timing last year to do it. So,
but I mean, yeah, like we talked about, like even the stuff that, like the kind of the gimmicky stuff he's doing on social media now is going very sour with South Carolina fans because like, all right, this is fine, but when are you going to start winning? If this is all you're going to give us, we don't want you here.
Have you ever seen an SEC football coach leak silent commitments?
Nope. I can't say that I have.
This man, you know how Kirby does the Go Dawgs, MIZ from...
He does Go Dawgs like 4 hours after the fact.
Yeah, that's classic. But my man, every time he gets, that phone call, he's out here tweeting, man, I wish I could have shared that phone call with South Carolina Gamecocks fan. Future's bright.
I mean, the last one he did, he literally said, just got off the phone, just had a phone call that ended with another member joining the Gamecock family.
Tease it away, Bubba.
Do you think he does that for silent decommits?
Tough day to be
lost
a
another one.
Probably. All right.
Put Hayes Fawcett on alerts.
Someone call Hayes Fawcett. Get a decommitment right now.
Yeah, I think barring any type of like multiple major wins, I think he's in trouble. And again, based off the buyout, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
it's not that bad.
I mean, if you beat LSU or Kentucky in the first 4 weeks, you might be able to hang on a little longer. But if you lose to Old Dominion or Akron, you're out of there. But
I just think it's like, to me, it's so obvious he's not the guy.
Yeah. But then, like, what is the guy at South Carolina? I mean, I think the epitome
8-5. 8-5 is the standard.
Yeah, I mean, the epitome of like the perfect South Carolina coach was Steve Spurrier, where we're going to be a thorn in Georgia's side. We're going to beat
9 or 10
Florida every
games.
Yeah,
that's the peak. He's the greatest South Carolina football coach of all time.
And where is
being
that guy
fired?
Right now?
Be 8-5.
Yeah, and where is that guy right now?
We don't know him before they show up, though. You didn't know Eli Drinkowitz at App State.
Yeah, but like you knew Spurrier. Yeah. Like, I mean, Mac Brown did this at UNC, and it's like he made UNC better.
So you're going the old retired was great somewhere else route.
I mean, it's kind of succeeded from the examples we've seen.
What you doing, Edo? What you up to?
Urban.
No.
Urban Meyer.
No, speaking of pub pieces, You know who's been very, very open about wanting to get back into coaching?
Who?
Oh, Scotty Frost.
But he wasn't like...
He wasn't a legend.
He wasn't a legend.
No, he wasn't a legend.
Maybe at UCF, that national title, but...
You're right, though. This is South Carolina's MO. They just hired former LSU baseball coach,
Maneri?
Paul Maneri, that had been retired for 3 seasons.
Look at us just being ball knowers.
I mean, just certified round ball knowers.
We know
all ball knowers.
All ball knowers. All right, so Shane is reeling. He's down bad. We up though out there in Oregon. And I say we up just because we up. You know, that friend of the show. How many head coaches been on this show? 1. Sir Daniel Lanning. What are you scratching your head over there for?
I felt like we had another one on. But...
No. We got the future commissioner of college football on here once, Joshua Pate. And we had the greatest voice of SEC football of all time, Gary Danielson, on. Say a crossword about Gary Danielson, I promise you. I dare you, I should say. But anyway, our Dan Lanning. Film Guide Network's own Daniel Lanning.
Best
ripping
friend.
it up on the trail. I don't know what I'm doing with first names right now.
Brooks Austin's best friend, Dan Lanning.
Quote, Brooks Austin's pal, Dan Lanning, cooking on the trail.
Sends a Christmas card every year.
He doesn't do that. We do talk. Not often. He's a busy man. He's a very busy man. But anyways, Oregon is absolutely killing. Since June 1st, they have gotten commitments from Zaire Addison, who I've been on the record on Twitter saying I think is the number 1 tackle in the country. I know. David Sanders is great. I know. Juan Gaston's great. I know. Nick Brooks is great. I like Zaire Addison. So that's me. Dimitri Manning, who is a 3-star offensive tackle commit. However, Dimitri Manning, 6'7", 345 pounds.
That'll play.
That checks out. Josiah Sharma. Josiah Sharma, great name. Josiah Sharma, a 3-star. Josiah Sharma, also the largest human being in California, the only 6'5", 345-pound defensive tackle available in the state. He's a 3-star ranked out in California, but I promise you right now, every West Coast team was praying that they could sign this kid because he's the only massive one. And this is kind of a sport about big people. And there ain't a lot of big defensive linemen out there in California. So, Josiah Sharma, if Josiah Sharma played at Grayson High School, what do you think Josiah Sharma's ranked? I've never even seen the tape. 6'5", 345. What do you think he's ranked?
At least a 4-star.
I bet he's inside the 250.
He's a 4-star.
I bet he's inside the 250, without a doubt in my mind. Brandon Finney is a 4-star out of Maryland that they got a commitment from. Jordan Davidson is a running back out of Mater Dei out there in Southern Cal. Deshaun Brame was a tight end out of Kansas that Tennessee started messing around with. Tennessee actually got predictions to get this commitment late. I wonder how. Oregon battling for Deshaun Brame, tight end out of Kansas. Dorian Brew, one of the top corners in the state of Texas, committed to Oregon last month. Dakarian Moore, the top wide receiver in the country, just committed to Oregon out of the state of Texas. That is 8 commitments in the last month alone. All 8, in my opinion, make a tremendous amount of sense for this program. They're blue chippers mixed with, hey, that's a big sumbitch. Let's get him in here. Okay. And if we do that, we're going to recruit really, really well. Also, I want to point this out. Look at the locations on the commitments list for Oregon right now. They got commits out of Texas, Florida, California, Kansas, Illinois, Maryland, Missouri, Arizona, Washington. Try putting that on a hot map. Just spread it out. Put some red dots where they're landing kids from. You know what you won't find? What you will find. One, he's recruiting nationally. If you're a great player, Oregon thinks they can sign you. I saw Oregon on the trail this year in the state of Georgia. Last 2 years in the state of Georgia since Dan has taken over that job and really gotten his hands on recruiting. So they are a very national-based recruiting model. That is the first thing you will notice. The other thing you will notice, ain't jack shit coming out of the state of Oregon. So that's kind of why they have to recruit that way. All right. I think you looked up the Oregon players available.
There's 7 of them ranked in the state. Nice. They're all 3 stars.
Those are 7 with profiles. They're not ranked.
Sorry, yeah, profiles.
Those are 7 with profiles. Those players are not ranked. The state's not going to be good. So you're going to have to recruit nationally. He's doing that really, really, really well. When I pay attention to how this dude is out here recruiting. Two things stand out to me, very, very obvious, that he picked up right from the last stop that he made, right? This is a guy in Lanning that has coached under Mike Norvell, under Nick Saban, and under Kirby Smart. I think he's coached under some really good football coaches, some guys that know a little something about this sport and how to coach it. Two things that he picked up are very, very obvious from Kirby. Big people. I'm going to recruit big people. I'm going to recruit a lot of big people. I'm going to prioritize big people. And the other thing, if you're a winner, you can pull nationally, so you better win. Okay, Georgia does this. They don't have to do this. Georgia could sign 25 guys from the state of Georgia every single year and finish in the top 3 in recruiting. It's just the way it is, okay? Oregon cannot. Oregon has to recruit nationally. Georgia chooses to recruit nationally because they don't really care about where you're from. All they care about is best player available, because they can do that because they've won at a rate like that. So Oregon is a major, major problem, boys, not just for anybody in the Big Ten, not just for anybody out west, but especially for Lincoln Riley. Oregon is a problem nationally for everyone. They're going to bump heads with just about every big program because they're in the mix for everybody, it seems.
Is that a problem, or is that more of a thorn in the side? Because
it's a problem. Anytime a new entrant with Phil Knight money comes into your pool, that is a problem. Georgia didn't see him as a problem when he first got there.
Right.
Because they're like, we'll never battle him. We'll never have to battle him. Bullshit. Zaire Addison is an Oregon Duck right now. You know what I'm saying? So, It's not going to be every member of every class, but they tried to get in on Isaiah Gibson. I saw Lupoy down there last year at the defense at Warner Robins. Okay, so I've seen these guys out on the trail trying to get their nose in on some Georgia recruits, and they're not necessarily doing it often, but they're costing you, and they're costing everybody. They cost Texas, costing LSU, costing Maryland. I mean, Maryland, of all players, stealing players from Maryland.
Yeah.
So this is something to pay attention to, and this is something to at least make note of. Is like, hey, Dan's not just a great defensive coach. Dan's not just apparently a great offensive finder. Like that's been the craziest thing. I knew Dan would coach defense. I knew Dan would recruit well. Really high energy, recruited coach defense at an elite level, probably historic level at the University of Georgia. And oh, by the way, got a lot of energy, going to recruit well. Okay, so I knew those things were going to happen. The idea that you're going to sign and bring in 2 offensive coordinators in your first 3 years as a head coach, and both of those guys are going to make your offense a top 5 offense, that's not something I saw coming out of Dan's first 3 years as a head football coach. And that's what we got.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that it's definitely a problem, especially because Phil Knight is doing exactly what every single college football fan would want to do if they were Phil Knight, because he's literally saying, empty out my pockets before I die because I want to see as many Oregon national championships as possible. So, I mean, back up the brink trucks literally and take all the money you absolutely want and win every single national title that you possibly can until he's no longer there.
Hell yeah.
Empty out the pockets for some rings, baby.
What you read?
Oh, I was on Twitter looking at the sketch stuff. Sorry about that, brother.
I don't even tapped into that yet. I saw like one.
That's pretty crazy,
but
either way, that was just my ADD coming out right there.
It's all good.
Where are we?
Talking about how Dan Lanning.
Yeah, elite football recruiter. I don't even feel like doing this Utah segment because we don't have to based off the time.
Okay.
You just want to go straight in this SEC media?
Yeah, we don't need to.
I will be quick though. Utah announced last week announced last week while we were on vacation that Kyle Whittingham has a coach in waiting. They've already named him. His name is Morgan Scully. He is the current defensive coordinator. Morgan Scully's already held this title. Morgan Scully held the title as the coach in waiting from 2019 to 2020, then was ripped of that title and the $2 million that came with it annually. Because he texted a racial slur to a recruit because he thought he was talking to a colleague. And now he's back as the coach in waiting. So there's that. Also, I don't have to sit here and air it out. Just Google it. There is some stuff. There's some stuff. I'll just leave it at that. SEC Media Days. Long list here. July 15th starts off with family. Brian Kelly kicks it off. Lane Kiffin right after him. Shane Beamer and then Clark Lee to round us off July 15th. So we're going to get a nice nap at the end of that one. July 16th, Tuesday, you got Kirby Smart, Eli Drinkowitz, Brent Venables, Josh Heupel. The 17th, you got Kalen DeBoer, Billy Napier, Jeff Lebby, Steve Sarkisian. The 18th, rounding it out, Sam Pittman, Hugh Freeze, Mark Stoops, Mike Elko. Good Lord. It's a tough day to be there on July 18th. Ain't no firepower there.
Hugh Freeze might say something interesting.
You're right. Hugh Freeze, over under. No, not even over under. Hugh Freeze minus 165 to throw a Bible verse in there.
Oh my God. Hammer it.
All right, so I got a couple questions here for you, boys. First of all, best day of this mix here. What do you like? Where's the fireworks?
I feel like it's either the first or the second. The first 2 days are the best by far. I mean, the first because Brian Kelly, like we saw last year, typically gives pretty strong speeches in this. Lane Kiffin, I mean, it's Lane Kiffin. And Shane Beamer is going to get interesting because he's definitely going to get pressed on how he's on the hot seat. I mean, Clark Lee's Clark Lee. We know what it is. We might have to listen to a 30-minute speech. It is what it is. But then the second day, Kirby Smart, obviously for obvious reasons. Eli Drinkowitz, because obviously he's coming off of one of the best seasons in Missouri history. Is it? Maybe. It's his best season. Brett Venables, because it's his first year.
You can't say that's the best season in Missouri history. They're ranked number one at one point.
Best season they've had in the SEC.
Correct.
Well,
second.
They won the East.
Second best. Yeah, they won the East
twice.
They had that one time when they had won the East.
Yeah, they did it twice. Yeah. Either way, and then Josh Heupel is going to be interesting just because the expectations Tennessee's had. So it's the first 2 days for me.
I think it's the third day. I like the third day a lot. I like that lineup. You get Kalen DeBoer, first year in the SEC, and then you also get Jeff Lebby, new head coach, and then Steve Sarkisian, also new to the conference, first time that we're going to get to see him in front of that big SEC logo. And I think Billy Napier will have some interesting questions to answer, and he'll just kind of be pinned up against the wall a little bit. Kind of interested to see, like, where does he see the direction of this program going into when you're literally going into a fire mixed with a blender? Like, you're just not going to survive any way possible. But what is your outlook of this season? Like, do you have anything worth saying, or are you just kind of gonna be like, it's always win football games?
Man, he was low energy last year.
Yeah, last year was bad.
Oh my God, he was low energy when he was speaking. We got to give Billy a speech about Foose. Okay, a little bit of that fake juice goes a long way. Okay, especially when you're in front of a microphone. When you're out here, let's be honest. I wasn't in a great mood today. Okay, I'm trying out a new diet. I don't feel great. I feel kind of what do you call it? Foggy. See, I feel kind of foggy. I don't feel great, but you come out, you give the Foose. You get the folks what they want, baby. They want that fake juice. Billy, got to give me some Foose this year at SEC Media Days. Had that Kalen DeBoer been flipped out with Nick Saban, I might say that one just because I love listening to Nick talk.
Right.
But for me, it's the 3 in a row of Kirby Smart, Drinkowitz, Venables. Heupel's a bore, but Heupel's a bore because he's a football nerd. I mean, Heupel spent 2 years at JUCO, won a national title as a quarterback, and then it was like, all right, your football career's done. Maybe you can be the next version of Mike Leach. And he's not even quirky like Mike. He's just a football nerd. He's very Gus Malzahn this way. Malzahn only wants to study X's and O's. Anything outside of that is outside of his purview. But he will fake it, right? He will fake it. He will go out there and give the Foose. Same thing with Josh Heupel. But I'm interested to see what Venables is like. I got a feeling I'm going to be tweeting I'd play for Venables.
I do think it's appropriate having Heupel go immediately after the Oklahoma coach speaks.
Yeah.
What's the track record on these?
Buddy, it's bad. You can win me over at an SEC Media Day. I ain't gonna lie to you. I got tweets. I never delete tweets. I had to delete the Shane Beamer tweets. You ain't gonna find them.
I think I have a screenshot of it.
Yeah, somebody's got them. He's a faker.
Yeah.
He's a great faker.
Good one.
He's a faker.
He's a tremendous faker. He's a mother faker. He is a mother faker. All right. I mean, he is perfect at standing up there, giving you the Foose, and doing all that good stuff.
That was one of the funniest things when we were at Media Days last year was me and Jay Will in the hotel room because you came back from doing the interviews. You stand there, you're talking, like you said something, like there's an awkward silence and you go, I'd play for Shane Beamer. And we both look at you like, really?
Really?
He said, yeah, I just tweeted that out actually.
5 and 7.
Might even pin it too.
5 and 7, broke his foot. kicking a bench.
Kicking a locker. Oh my God.
Cried after a post-game press conference.
Was his shoes on when he kicked the bench?
Oh, yeah. Surely.
It is Shane Beamer.
You ain't kicking benches barefoot on the sideline, are you?
Under Armour shoes, not good for kicking benches, I guess.
It's true. Nah, someone's going to get me. I bet. It's not Mark. Mark Stoops got low T.
Mike Elko?
I mean, that's what I'm going to call low energy from now on. You just got low T. Mike Elko, I'm interested. I'm going to put a question mark. Intrigued, if you will, there. Sammy Pittman, I know what it is, man. All right, we're going to make some beer jokes. We're going to talk about how we like to have a good time. Someone's going to ask him about the jukebox, and it's going to be it.
I'm going to log my expert prediction. Crystal balling Brooks's commitment for I could play for you after SEC Media Days right now. I'm going to go with you for East.
I'm going Brian Kelly.
I think you've been kind of riding this little.
you?
I think you've been not to say that you're showing favoritism by any means, but I think that you just kind of like the trajectory of that program right now. I think it catches your eye.
We need to make this a thing. Don't tweet it out this year.
Okay.
And come on the show the week after and be like, I know where I'm committing.
I know where I would play.
I'm going to go Brian Kelly at LSU.
He got me. He did. He got me last year during his speech. I even walked up to him afterwards. I was like, I thought you did a hell of a job coaching. Let's not talk about that Tennessee game the year before, but
right.
I thought you did a hell of a job last year. Y'all were a bare bones bunch that made it to the SEC championship game. Don't know what was going on with that Tennessee matchup. But either way, hey, Brooks, is the boys going to be with you at SEC Media Days? No. But next year, maybe. There's this weird stipulation in the SEC where you have to be credentialed for a certain amount of home games at the school you're applying under. And unlike most, we don't have to get into it.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Working our way up.
And the way I look at this, because I don't want to sound salty, we're really only like 5 years into this. I am.
Yeah.
You guys are really only like 2 or 3 years into this.
You just graduated.
Okay, so the fact that the doors don't get opened for us like they do literally every other company in this beat, I understand, because we are new. And we're a company that doesn't have a tremendous amount of backing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sports Illustrated ain't banging down the doors over there at the Butt Smear building in assistance of us. So it is what it is. We battle where we can. We do what we can. You guys are unbeknownst of all of it. Y'all don't even know those things. So until now, we just peeled the curtain back just a little bit. But no, the boys will not be there this year. Last year, they traveled with me and sat at the hotel. I'm not going to waste your time doing this year. Unless you want to drive, because I'm not paying for flights.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
All right, so there we go.
That's what, a 14-hour drive?
Yeah, 14 and a half. That's a 2-dayer.
You want a road trip? We can vlog it.
Y'all can sleep on the floor because Fisher's got the bed.
Oh, man.
Shit.
Never mind. Actually, never mind.
What were you going to say?
We can rent a van. Just full on road trip it.
Oh, yeah.
If we don't get credentialed next year, we'll rent a van.
All right, bet that. Put it in the promises over on Discord. All right, couple questions for you here. Dream foursome. Both like put 4 of them together. Come on, man. Be appropriate. Put 4 of them together in SEC Media Days. Also, the foursome goes and plays golf. I'll go first. I want Kirby. Give me Drinkowitz for fun. I want Kirby paired with Shane Beamer in golf. And give me Lane Kiffin.
So the same 4 goes and plays golf?
Yes, same 4, stands up, does media days in a row, bing, bang, 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 bang. Then after that, we get to go watch them play golf together. I'm putting Shane Beamer and Kirby in a cart together just to watch them fist fight.
Okay.
I'm kind of on the same wavelength as you. I think Lane Kiffin and Kirby Smart are 2 of the better personalities out of the entire SEC. Then I'll throw in Sam Pittman and Shane Beamer.
So I went same thing as you, except I switched out Beamer for Brian Kelly. I got Pittman, Smart, Kiffin, Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly is zero fun.
But that's exactly why he needs to be in this group.
That's a good.
That's exactly why he needs to be in this group.
You think they just like make Brian do shots or something?
Yeah, just make him do something stupid. Like I don't know. Like I think that between Sam Pittman,
he tops a ball.
Pittman's just there because someone's got to bring the drinks. Somebody's got to be responsible for the drinks on the course.
Pittman's gonna be on Ox.
Pittman's got
the bees.
He's got the speaker with him. Like you need an environment guy, and then Kirby Smart and Lane Kiffin are solely there because of their personalities, and also to make fun of Brian Kelly.
Dude, yeah.
Like take the stick out of your ass, Brian Kelly, and have some fun.
Brian Kelly would definitely top a golf ball, not make it to the women's tees, and Lane and Kirby make him drop his pants and hit the ball. Have you heard that rule?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a family
They would
around
make him
here.
do that one.
Drop
Come
your
on,
drawers.
family. Drop them drawers. What? We got a local hour coming up. See you in about 45 seconds.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Middle of Pat McAfee's show. Isn't that crazy? Hey, we're back. What's up? Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, and review. Got a local hour for you. Man, they're on a little bit of a tear, aren't they?
Yeah, that's putting it nicely.
3 commits in the last 24 hours. And one while I was on the way or on vacation, right?
What? Oh,
Didn't someone?
no, Tavian Wallace committed to Arkansas. While you were gone. Yeah.
Which was out of nowhere.
That was. Did you watch the?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, the entire town speaking about it.
Yeah.
Good for him though.
Great for him. What my least favorite thing about having to watch those is watching all the fans in the chat be like, just get over it, bro. Just say where you're going. Oh my God, longest commitment announcement of all time. Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah.
there was a lot of yapping accusations in the chat.
Speaking of the chat, I want to know about Jaden Pilati. Do y'all think he flips for real? Patreon.com/Brooks Austin. We had that June 17th.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
June 17th. I put that out of, hey, don't know if this one ends up in the class. Okay. Also, never mind. Don't have to talk about it. Other people's business. Ain't ours. The recruiting rankings on that cat just plummeted at one of the ranking sites. I'm talking about plummeted. I'm talking about like inside top 100, inside top 200 to not ranked, not even to be found. Okay, pretty crazy. So there's that. Let's talk about the commitments, okay? Shamari Earls flipped from South Carolina. We talked about that a little bit in the national hour. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that here today. Ja Jackson, the big 6'10 offensive lineman, committed to the University of Georgia today. He will join the 2024 signing class. He is not necessarily a reclass. How would you classify this?
I don't know. It gets so weird, but like these overtime elite kids, it's kind of hard to keep up with their eligibility.
He's at a prep school.
Yeah. So
that's the easiest way to put it. It's not a JUCO. It was a prep school where you can basically take a year off before you go because you got 7 to play 4. Mm-hmm. You got 7 years to play 4. Nowadays, you got 8 to play 5 if you were there in 2020. We'll talk a little bit about Ja Jackson. And then Jalen Morgan is the most recent committed today about 3 o'clock Eastern Standard. And I watched 30 seconds of his highlight tape this morning and said, Jay Will, we watching that shit. We are watching that for everybody to see. I think he's a little J.R. Reed-ish. That's what I think. I was laughed out of the building today when I sent that. Because, they don't do player comparisons at Georgia. And they
checks out.
Players are players. Player comparisons are stupid. The whole industry's an idiot. Y'all are dumb. That kind of vibe when I was like, hey, kind of reminds me of J.R. Reed. Here's why. 6 foot, 185 pounds, plays way bigger than he's listed. Very, very linear prospect. Okay, super, super thin extremities. I'm talking about arms and legs. Not very thick lowers on Jalen Morgan. So super excited to talk to you guys about that. Our boy over here has a crazy Carson Beck stat. Super excited to listen to that. No, we will not be talking about him dating a Cavender twin tonight, even though apparently it was headline
Huge news.
Huge news. I think it's a better pickup for her than him. I mean, he's about worth $30 million right now. About 10 months from $30 million.
Just by signing his name on a piece of paper.
Yeah. Just by doing what he did last year. Just be the same guy. We got $30 million waiting on you. And a Cavender twin, so that's awesome. We got that tonight, the Carson Beck stat, not the Cavender twin news. Does the stat that we're going to give you change anything about your feelings towards Georgia this season? And are UGA expectations completely out of control at this point? And UGA pulling a Ryan Day. So super excited to talk about that one tonight as well. An opportunity for you to see your beloved Georgia Bulldogs practice live and in person has presented itself. We'll talk about that tonight. I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. If you have not already, head over to prizepicks.com. Use promo code Brooks. You get a 100% deposit match. What does that mean? Put up to $100. You will instantly get matched $100 right there in your account. If you have not already, please feel free to do so. Still a lot of action to be had over there. There's actually some video game gambling you can do over there on Prize Picks.
Some esports?
Yeah, you can get you some esports in there. How many kills man's finna have in this Warzone lobby? Really? 7.5? Hammer the over. I mean, shit, I get 7. You know? Some of these sweats better be out here with like 12, 15. Either way, got a loaded show for you guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, and review. All right, which one of these commits do y'all want to talk about first? Let's do the Jaw Jackson one. I love how I give y'all options and then tell you what.
That's why I'm like, I'll just wait.
I'll just shut up. He's going to tell me.
Usually if you ask us, we just wait for you to decide.
Yeah. Y'all are great at that. Anyways, Jaw Jackson. Someone just liked the tweet that I put out today. So these are official measurements from the University of Georgia. Let me pull these up right quick. Jaw Jackson, 6'10", 334 pounds, 35.25-inch arms, 86.25-inch wingspan. That is how large Jaw Jackson is. Now, most people probably were introduced to Jaw Jackson when he was playing on Bronny James' AAU basketball team. Okay, he went viral for being just a massive human in middle school. Wasn't that what it was?
Yes.
And I recall this because the entire mentions and the entire comment thread was, buddy, you need to be playing football. Buddy, you need to be playing football. Buddy, you need to be playing football. And that's the funny thing about Jaw's kind of storyline. Obviously, he loved basketball. Because who doesn't? I played football for 19 seasons. I'm gonna tell you right now, I would have rather been playing basketball. I'm just 6 foot round mound to rebound. It ain't happening. Okay, no basketball ever in the history, or ever in the future of yours truly. Obviously, so football was it. But I'd much rather have been preferring to play basketball. It's easier. It's more fun. Basketball is the most fun sport to play, in my opinion, ever. Anybody disagree?
I'm still going football.
You really?
Yeah.
Nah, football hurts, bro. Football hurts. Basketball does not. You might roll an ankle. But football hurt for a long time. Okay. Either way, every basketball player would rather be playing basketball than football. However, the transition from basketball to football happens all the time. And Jaw Jackson was the type of football player, or basketball player rather, that every time he'd go out on the court, again, people would tell him, you need to be playing football. You need to be playing football. All that good stuff. So he kept it in the back of his mind as an option, if you will. I'm going to exhaust my basketball opportunities, and then if need be, everybody, telling me I'd be a great football player, it will be available because I got Power 5 football coaches offering me scholarships having never even seen me play. That was Jaw Jackson on an overtime interview. He's like, I haven't played football since middle school. And I got schools like Florida State, Georgia, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. I got major SEC programs throwing themselves at me, begging me to come there, okay, and offering me a scholarship opportunity to play college football. So that's always going to be there. And now he's calling upon those because, let's be honest, you're a basketball guy. It was never happening. Not in today's day and age of professional basketball.
DJ Burns is an anomaly of like these types of players.
Big Burns. That's what it would have been.
Yeah.
And guess what? DJ Burns, apparently there are NFL executives that have already said if he just announces he wants to play football, we'll draft him.
Yeah.
That's how easy the conversion is for these large of humans because they don't make them this large very often. All right. And with this kind of foot speed, he's not a burner, but he can get his feet up and out of the ground. You can tell this by the way he plays defense in basketball. So the idea that I can stay in front of a 6 foot point guard that's got the ball in his hands might lead me to being able to stay in front of a 6'3", 260-pound defensive end. See what I'm saying? Because all I got to do at 6'10", 335 is just stand in front of him. I mean, he ain't going to run through me. You wouldn't imagine, right? Even at that size. So this is a tremendous ceiling prospect for the University of Georgia. And I'm going to tell you what, they didn't need this at all. I don't think they need another offensive line commit even in this class in 2025. I think that's how good of a class they signed in 2024. He gets added to this. And that 2024 class, guys, is filled with a balance of high ceiling, good floor, or high ceiling, high floor football players, right? Malachi Tolliver, high floor. Marcus Harrison, high ceiling. Daniel Calhoun, both. Marquise Easley, high ceiling. Okay. Michael Unai, low or high floor. Okay, there was a good balance and mixture of all these good football players. But I'm gonna tell you what, that 2024 signing class, based off what I've heard already through just 10 months, 8 months of them being on campus, they got some guys. They signed some absolute dudes. They added another one in that class today in Josh Jackson. And just based off what we know about Stacy, this is the ideal candidate. This is the ideal lump of clay for him to prove his coaching prowess. This is what he searches for. He searches for the biggest, the most gifted, the most God touched him to be a big human on the planet. And he says, guess what? I'll turn him into a 5-star football player once he gets to my campus. This was 100% a Stacy Searles. I want that guy. I want to see what I can do with that. And they ended up landing him.
Well, I mean, I think I told you this earlier today too. Like, especially since he's in the 2024 class, like, why would you not take a stab at this? Like, why would you not attempt at this? Because you never know. Like, you never know if you're going to get another one of these. It's like, here he is, mold. You just got to turn him into a football player. Like, there's no losses here for you. Like, if it doesn't work out, then like you're not going to be hurting from this.
Yes, I mean, this is what the luxury of Georgia is, where you can afford to, hey, let's go out and get this guy that he has got an extremely high ceiling, but he hasn't really played a ton of football. We're going to have to mold him into a football player. I don't think there's many other schools that can afford this opportunity. And it's part of the reason why Georgia succeeds so much, because they usually hit home runs on these guys. Ladd McConkey was this. Jordan Davis was this, where it was, hey.
Dylan Bell was this.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to take
Adonai Mitchell was this.
Yeah, you have to be able to take risks to have payoff, and then other teams necessarily don't have these risks or can't take the risks that Georgia's taking. So I think it's a luxury, and it shows as to why Georgia's doing so well in the recruiting and why they're so good at developing.
All right, Josh Jackson is currently training with Kevin McAlmont. That's the guy who kind of introduced him to football, or reintroduced him to football rather, and has trained him. Kevin McAlmont, I met back in it was dead middle of COVID. He was training Broderick Jones. This is a known guy in the state of Georgia for offensive line development. Ja was living in the state of Georgia. That was one of his comments about, being able to stay in Georgia with his commitment to the University of Georgia. I talked to Kevin today, and I want to read you some of this stuff. I asked just off the rip, hey man, like, has this guy played any football at all? Because I don't have any of it. I just see him out at an FSU camp. And I see him on an overtime interview, and I see that he's 6'10", and I see he's 335, but I don't have anything to go off of in terms of, has this guy ever played football? He played in middle school. That's the extent of the football playing career of Josh Jackson. I wanted to know, man, like, does he have a real shot to be great? Or is this just like, hey, like, he's 6'10", let's hope. You know what I mean? Is this a lottery ticket, or is this a direct investment in a company that you know you're going to get an ROI out of? And this was the answer. Man, this kid is going to make it, no lie. He's an older freshman, obviously, the reclass. He's strong and he's long, but I want to see pads. I want to see pads on him, and that's literally it. But he says he does have indeed it. This is a basketball player that was kind of told, hey, bro, quit playing so damn physical. Calm down. You know what I'm saying? And when you got those guys, when we can't keep you out of foul trouble, those guys almost always roll over to football really, really, really well. This is not a big kid that we got to get to play big. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This is a big kid that's always played big that we had to slow down. That's going to transition to football, I think, relatively well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a lot of positive news.
It's always the basketball bruisers that convert to football.
Yeah, not very rarely the other way around.
No.
I don't know of one. Charlie Ward won a Heisman in college football and then made the NBA as a basketball player.
But every high school basketball team needs a football player.
Fact.
Very true.
And I think more basketball players need to consider this. I'm not talking about the power forwards and the centers. They're not all 335 pounds. Most of them are rail thin. That's why they play basketball, because they're tall and thin. Stretch. Give him a camera shot. Anyways, most of them go from basketball to football, not football to basketball. Most of that being a skill requirement. Allen Iverson in the chat. Allen Iverson was a All-American high school basketball player, as well as being a high school All-American football player.
Just a great athlete.
Yeah, just an all-around great athlete. Yeah, LeBron James. What we're talking about is the rarity of, I spent, time playing high school football, and now I'm going to go become a college basketball player. So there's that. I just got a random text message from an admin, so I need to check this out.
I guess the question I have about Ja is, 6'10" is huge. That's like that exceeds the OL average by about 3 inches.
Gosh, yeah.
My question is, do you get into an area where it's almost too big?
Yes. I worry about two things. I worry about general athleticism. Okay, because I don't care how good you look on a basketball field or a basketball court running in a straight line from one side of the court to the other. Football is very much so a start and stop sport. Okay, we got to be able to accelerate quickly. We got to be able to reach places on the field that athletic people get to before us as offensive linemen. So we got to understand angles. We got to understand all that good stuff. But I worry about that. I also worry about his ability to have any type of anchor or get people reestablish the line of scrimmage in the run game. Anchor in the pass game, meaning like people aren't going to be able to run by this guy. I saw it on Twitter of, hey, speed rush his ass, that he won't be able to handle it. Guys, he's 6'10" with an 87-inch wingspan. He gets 1.5 kick steps and sticks his arm out. You're not running the hoop. You're not. Okay, so like they don't get speed rushed. The question about big guys that never play football is, hey, when James Pierce gives you a speed rush and converts speed to pull, is he going to run right through your shit? Because that is what college football players have and NFL football players have that basketball players don't. This rare combination of elite athleticism and, holy shit, that guy's a 400-pound power cleaner? Poof, right through my chest. That's different. I worry about those two things. But other than that, give me a bunch of these at every position that are just the maximum ceiling. Don't give me all this because we'd be a bad team for 2 years, but give me some of this every once in a while. Take a stab, like you said, worth the investment in the opportunity. Take me a stab.
Absolutely.
I don't have anything to add.
All
to
good on the Josh Jackson.
You answered my question. So.
Yep. All right. Shamari Earls is the corner that decommitted from South Carolina and flipped to Georgia. How'd you feel about the notes? Did you notice this? He tweeted it out in the notes format. Just, hey, this is how I feel. Nice and simple.
Yeah.
Go Dogs. I'm flipping. Thanks, South Carolina. All that good stuff.
Man, that's a throwback.
It's a throwback.
The notepad used to be how you did everything.
You did it.
That was the edit right there.
Yeah.
You just type it out on a notepad and tweet it out.
Very nostalgic.
I liked it, especially considering we all knew this was happening for like the last month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So he had plenty of time to have Hayes Fawcett in his DMs saying, hey, what you need? And there was just a regular notepad message with his own heartfelt words and a couple of typos.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. I like the football player as well. I think this is going to be a high riser in the recruiting circuits just based off of the skill set, man. He's 6'2". He's 205 pounds. He runs 10.8 in the 100. And I'm going to tell you right now, check. That's like the requirements nowadays to play at the University of Georgia. The Andre Evans kid that they signed last class, that was like a low-ranked 4-star. I think he was barely a 4-star, maybe even a 3. Dude's checking every physical box that there is. He's basically this. Okay, he doesn't play like this based off the rankings, but he is Shamari Earls. That's what Andre Evans looked like last class. That's what they're going to try to sign come November or December in Shamari Earls as well. I think this is a tremendous pickup in addition to this class, mainly because you're stealing from Shane Beamer, but mainly because he's a great football player. Also, did you see the salt in the wound that they did? After Travaris Robinson flipped this kid from South Carolina, they turned around and went and offered a scholarship to the defensive line, the highest ranked, the next highest ranked commit.
Right?
Yeah, Caleb Williams. The defensive lineman out there. I think he's from South Carolina.
Believe so.
All right, so Travaris flips this guy. Travaris and Dante, I'm sure it was combined effort. Travaris flips this guy. And then not Trey Scott. Did you notice in that tweet from Caleb Williams? Trey Scott wasn't tagged in that tweet. Travaris Robinson was. This was salt in the wound. That's what that was. They turned right around and offered Caleb Williams salt in the wound.
That's dirty.
It's dirty. It's funny.
Well, it's big too, because I mean, we kind of talked about it last time we were on the show, I believe, of just the defensive back class still trying to kind of figure it out, and you were still trying to figure out like who is going to make up the rest of this class. Like you already had a couple. You had Todd Robinson, he's already in the class, but you're still trying to figure out like who else is joining this. Getting Shamari Earls from South Carolina is great because that adds another body to this defensive back room, and it feels like it's taking shape now.
I'm among the belief that you can never have too many DBs in a recruiting class. I mean, you have to come in with the assumption that, yes, you can only start 2 or 3 at a position, but the reality is that the more you have, the better, more competitive the group is. So I love this.
I had an admin text me. I guess it was so important in the middle of the show, he had to find out who the Sandy Sock guy was. So I'm ratting him out.
Boo.
I'm just glad it was that. The look of concern on your face when you first read that text was
he was like, who's the Sandy Sock guy? And I didn't read it right. I just, my brain was like, oh, this is an admin texting me in show with someone who has unhinged behavior. And that's all the text says. So I immediately went to the chat and was like, looking for Sandy Sock as a username to block him. So that's why I was looking concerned. It was like, oh, this guy must be pulling some Utah defensive coach or head coach in waiting type shit in the chat. Crazy.
That is crazy.
That's pretty bad.
I'm usually fairly understanding of very wild things. That's now the only defense I get is where
you're talking Sandy Sock.
What beach did you go to?
Panama.
Somebody gets the sand could get hot, but
yeah, my grandpa does the sandal and sock thing on the beach, but he does not get in the water with his sandals and socks. He definitely takes them off, but that's also just an old guy thing, you know. Mm-hmm. They just be rocking.
Is that your Morgan in the chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a name change on that YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. No longer a Langley.
No,
shout out
Langley.
to the Williams.
That's right.
Hell yeah. How is the first couple weeks of marriage? Let's take a sidetrack here. You like it?
Oh, it was fantastic.
I mean, you've been dating the same girl since like 7th grade, so y'all been married.
And like we did honeymoon, then we did family vacation, and then we just spent the last week at the lake. So
so y'all just been dicking off.
Yeah,
for like
we just been living life.
No, it hasn't even started.
We just been living life, man. So, but yeah,
ain't even got bills in your name.
It's been great. Though. We do have those. We do have those. Those kicked in about a couple days ago. But yeah, it's been great.
Oh man, it's good stuff. All right. Let's talk about who's next. We talked about Shamari Earls. Let's talk about Jalen Morgan. And I want to watch this tape because I think this tape's phenomenal. I gave the comp earlier. I do think I get J.R. Reed vibes. And the reason being is J.R. played way bigger than he was. All right. And still, I think he's in the CFL right now. Probably still does play bigger than he was. That's why it didn't really work out for him in the league, because the league is very much so a height, weight, speed program. You got to be big, you got to be strong, got to be fast. JR lacks a lot of those physical traits. JR is about 5'11 and 3/4. JR is about 195 pounds. Will you get me his scouting NFL combine eval? Okay, he's not the biggest person. But I don't ever remember J.R. Reed accepting the big blow on a football field, do you? Remember J.R. Reed ever getting ran over?
Not sticks out pertinently in my head, no.
All right, J.R. Reed measured in at 6'1", 202 pounds.
Considerably larger than I thought.
You thought?
Had a full
big old neck,
half,
too.
So there you go.
Hang on. Is that the first time he's gotten like something like that wrong?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have it up on the board, though. Usually it's on the board.
That's what I was about to say. Obviously, not pre-planned. I don't rig these things. So,
cheating.
Or I just purposely missed one to throw you off the scent. Probably not.
Yeah, that was probably it.
Yeah, I was way off. That's tough. That's embarrassing. Shout out to the Prince, man. All right, let's watch this highlight tape. You're going to get some offense and some defense. And I'm telling you right now, the reason we are watching it today is because this shit fire. So let's hang out. Let's watch Georgia's newest commit. He is indeed, got to confirm today, going to stick at safety as soon as he gets there. Here's my propensity. Every time I see a guy, because the room at Georgia at safety right now looks like 6'2", 205. That's what it looks like. Dan Jackson, 6'2", 205. KJ Bolden, 6'2", will eventually be 205. Malachi Starks, 6'2", 205. All right, they have a very, very obvious mold of what they want in terms of size and speed and all the length, right, at that position. Here was the answer I got today. Every safety at Georgia can play star. Not every star at Georgia can play safety. I always thought the safety position or the star position was the most difficult. Not physically, mentally it is. It certainly is. To know where everything is, to know what to be doing, to be keyed in on run fits, while also being keyed in on pass protections, while also being keyed into blitz protections, while also all of it, right? The star position is completely encompassing of the room. However, got to have more physical traits to play safety at the University of Georgia. They think this guy matches all the physical traits that they need, despite the fact that his freshman year is the only track times we have available on him. He's an 11.75 guy as a freshman. So not a natural burner.
Yeah.
However, and he's even talked about it, not a camper, not the fastest, but he is fast, not the strongest, but he is strong. He understands there are some physical limitations. This is not a 5-star. that Georgia signed to the position. However, this tape is 5-star. This tape is good stuff right here, and it starts from the jump. This right here shows me body control, okay? Body control. To be able to do that right there, to jump up in the air, turn around, pirouette, and then land and make somebody miss and take it 60. That's it, right? That is what we're looking for. One more look at it in terms of just pure athletic movements, okay? Most guys fall down immediately after catching that ball. Hell, most guys probably don't catch the ball, right? It probably ends up as an interception. He not only catches it, pirouettes, gets his feet back down, and makes somebody miss. Here we get to see him playing safety. Looks like he's playing more of a strong right there, eh, Curb?
Yep.
Stick.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, buddy. That's what I'm talking about. So we see the raw speed. We see the raw athleticism. And then we see the power right after that. This is why I get J.R. Reedy vibes. Yeah. I do, because we're not huge, but we play big. All right? We're not fast, but we play fast, right? All these things right here like this right here. This is a smooth walk away from everybody out there. Now, again, Tennessee high school football, just run away from some Timmys and some Tylers right there. It's okay as long as the speed plays in the SEC, and this is what they believe it does. All right, you're also going to see this guy all over the field. Right here, he's in the box, but he's manned up against the tight. Okay, so that's why his shoulders are square. That's why his alignment's at about, 6 yards off the ball? Okay, his eyes are locked in on this tight end, and you're going to see him in man-to-man off-man coverage right here, run with this tight and keep him locked up. This is the intended target. They're trying to hit this tight end on the speed out, or this out route, ends up converting. They tried to hit him, and he's in lockstep the entire time. Okay, it continues to get more fun as the highlight tape continues, I believe. Probably going to get a high point in the red zone here. Yeah. Both feet down there. You see that?
Yeah.
He got the right foot down. Good on Sundays.
In that corner here, too.
Yep. I tried to get
on that.
Yeah, I tried to give him a little at the top.
Only all DB tape could be filmed that way.
Yeah. You're goddamn right there, Jonathan. We'd watch a whole hell of a lot more of it. It's just great ball skills from this guy. He tracks it really, really well. I wish everybody did that. I'm going to say this on air. I have stopped evaluating corners. I've just stopped. I can't evaluate, there's Jimmy, and Jimmy's over here. And, we got the circle on Jimmy, and then the play starts, and here goes Jimmy. Where'd Jimmy go? Oh, shit, Jimmy's making a pick. Woo! Take it back to the house. Great shit. I ain't see nothing from Jimmy. That plays corner. I ain't see shit from Jimmy. So I ain't going to watch it no more. But you're right. At least that one we got to see something right there.
That was fantastic.
That's the best utilization of the studio you've ever had.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
I think so, too.
All facets of the studio.
Is he pressing here?
Yeah, he's press man here. Good outside leverage, make a break on the ball, play through the hands. It's just
stayed locked in.
Pristine. He punched the ball out here. Peanut Tillman. Would like to see a little more contact strength.
Probably could have filled the alley better too. But.
Probably. Now he's in a pedal. I did watch his commitment announcement today, and it's great playing the ball.
Yep.
Did watch his commitment announcement today. They threw this cat onto the field as a true freshman at the end of his freshman season. So they made him play freshman ball. He plays freshman ball, and then they get into a game that they got to win, and they're like, hey, what if we threw Jalen out there and just see if he can mess around, find out. You know what that tells me? Got gamer tendencies. Got that it factor we're all looking for in every football player. How do you evaluate it? Well, throw him out there. See if he swims. He swam as a high school football player. We'll see if he swims in college. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
Naturally athletic. I mean, like, there's some people that you watch and it flows very easy. It doesn't ever look like he's trying too hard to be athletic, and at the same time, he's playing very smoothly.
Never in a bad spot.
I think reading run keys might be a little concerned just based on what we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a little hesitant to come, not hesitant, but late coming downhill. Well, let's see here. Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, you're right. And there's that lack of like initial twitch.
Right.
You know what I mean? That, like, I guarantee if you're still running track, he's probably an 11-2 guy.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I see why he's a take for Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm not questioning it at all.
Especially in this class. God dang, give me more of this.
Mm-hmm. So beautiful.
Oh, little defensive. Oh, that's him on offense. Putting that guy in the sideline.
Dude, that's disrespectful.
That was disrespectful.
Over the first down.
He hit that 3 minutes into the tape. He must not like Buddy. Buddy must say something about his mama.
That'll do it.
Brooks, forgive my lack of knowledge. Hey, by the way, I don't attack a lot of questions in the chat, but every once in a while I'll address them. If you want to make sure I get your question, hit us with a super sub. We will always get to it. Southern Dog asks, Brooks, forgive my lack of knowledge on the subject. Could you please use an episode to really explain Mike, Jack, and star positions in the Georgia defense? Well, guess what, buddy? We got time today. Throw up Epic Pen over there. We'll go right through it.
Oh, it's already up.
Oh, the man on his shit. Mike, Jack, and star. Okay. Now, they don't call it Mike at Georgia. They call it Money and Mac, which I find extremely confusing. Very, very frustrating, in fact, to even try to understand. All right, here's Georgia's base alignment. Offense. Let's put defense in yellow. All right, out of the mint, okay, you're a 5, a 4-eye, and then the Jack stands up cross face of the back, okay? So the back's over here, Jack away from the back. Why? Because most teams like to run zone across face of the quarterback. Okay, that's why you've seen a lot of teams start to go to the pistol because we can't set our strength. Okay, all right. So there's that. That's the base alignment off or up front. Now the Mike and the Will kind of stand like this. Now, Money, Mac, however you want to call them. Here's this will stand pat the rest of football. Which backer leaves the box? The Will. The Will leaves the box. So if this team were to go into empty, Georgia will run Quay Walker. Georgia will run Channing Tindall. Last year, Georgia will run Smile Mondon, right? That guy will travel with that back if they are indeed in man coverage. If they're not, that will stand right here and he'll do what we call splitting the difference, okay? So the Mike is the guy who stays in the box. This year, it will be C.J. Allen. Okay. Last year, it was Jamon Dumas Johnson. You did not see that guy leave the box. If Georgia played a 5-man box, JDJ was standing right there over the center or in one of the strong side A gaps. Okay. So that is the difference between Mike and Will. Now, you ask about star and safety. Okay. Star, or what do you say? Star?
Just the star position.
Just the star position. Now, the star position always hangs out opposite of the Jack, okay? And he is kind of what most people call a nickel corner, except Georgia uses their nickel corner very differently than, say, the NFL. In the NFL, this nickel corner is just too short to play corner. All right, he's under 6 foot, but god dang is he a burner. All right, he's probably a 4.38 guy. He's a 4.4 guy. All right, he's twitchy. He can handle all of the Stephon Diggses in the world and handle them in the slot. Right now, that player looks like Kamari Lassiter in Houston. Okay, 5'11", 195 pounds, a little bit slower on this end, about a 4.58 guy when fully healthy and then running in Indianapolis. The star position will sometimes have to run, right, with number 3. He might be one-on-one against number 3. A prime example of this is 2021 SEC Championship game. Dan Jackson was forced to play star, got put in one-on-one against Jamison Williams, cooked. See you. All right. You got to get put in bump and run in situations every once in a while in this position. Also, this guy will creep in. He will be the kind of subtle blitzer. We saw this in 2022, the rain game against Tennessee. Tyke Smith blew or was it Javon? Was it Javon Bullard? Bullard blew shit out of Hendon Hooker multiple times. Okay, so that's that position right there. There was one more question there. The Jack position, right? This is the Jack over here. The best way to describe this, and I think this has, I kind of know the way that they utilize this position has somewhat changed in the last couple of years. Especially this year it will change. They will not. They better not. They better not ask Michael Williams to drop into pass coverage. They better not. He's their best rusher. His ass needs to be rushing, okay, from a stand-up edge rushing position. Now, in years past, when that player's been Nolan Smith, when that player's been Chaz Chambliss, when that player's been Azeez Ojulari, when that place definitely has been Adam Anderson, they will drop that dude. They will roll him, okay? They will roll him into the flat and let him kind of hang out in this cover 3 flat, all right, when they drop the corner into a deep third or into a deep quarter, or if he's in bump and run, whatever it is, this Jack has oftentimes hung out back here, and they'll fire the wheel backside A. So we still got 4 guys rushing, but the jack's going to drop. Nowadays, I highly doubt that jack is dropping. That jack needs to come. All night long, he needs to be rushing the passer. I think that answers some questions.
Bang.
I would say so.
Didn't even need a whole episode. So there you go, Southern Dog. Ask and you shall receive. Carson Beck stat. I heard it's crazy.
It's a good one. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I found a good one yesterday. Actually, I tweeted it out. But here's a stat. In 2023, Carson Beck became just the 5th Power 4 now, would be Power 5, but Power 4 quarterback since 2009 to throw for 2,500 plus yards and complete over 70% of his passes against conference opponents in their first season as a starter. The others, C.J. Stroud, Mac Jones, Keaton Slovis, and Kyler Murray.
Keaton Slovis is the clown meme.
Yeah,
that list.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Dragons.
About to go to war. There's a clown. Yeah. There's an outlier, but
they're about to do the break-in, and the clown's sitting there holding his weapon.
Yeah. Who doesn't belong?
Who does? Well, so one more time.
All right.
Stat.
Carson Beck became just the 5th Power 4 QB since 2009 to throw for 2,500 plus yards and complete over 70% of his passes against conference opponents in his first season as a starter.
Oh, wow. So he did 2,500 against the SEC, over 70%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I forget Mac Jones was in that list because he started the entire back half of 2019.
Mac Jones is a very, very interesting story. I remember, I can't remember which analyst it was. Maybe it was Kirk. One of the analysts that called SEC football games was talking. Who's the sideline reporter? Todd McShay. Todd McShay was talking to Steve Sarkisian during the very first start of Mac Jones' career at Alabama. Not the Auburn game. The first year is hey, you're the guy starting. Tua's gone. He's not hurt.
2020?
2020.
Gotcha.
First game. McShay's on the sideline. And McShay says, hey, man, Sark, what you think about this Mac Jones fella? And Sark's like, man, I don't know. It's a great thing we got great receivers. Man, we're going to be tough. I don't know about this guy. Had the same conversation with Sark at the end of the year. Hey, what do you think about this Mac Jones guy? And he said, I have never given more to a quarterback in my history as a coach than I have to this individual. And then he cost the Pats a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of money and a lot of draft investment. And now he's the backup in Jacksonville, and he can't even get free golf memberships. You heard about this story?
No.
Mac Jones walked into the most prestigious golfing club down there in Jacksonville and was like,
What's up, guys? I'm Mac Jones.
I'm Mac Jones. Is there any way I can just, be comped the membership? Because, I'm Mac Jones. And they were like, who's Mac Jones?
You're not Trevor Lawrence.
Get out of here. But either way, Mac Jones lost a lot of money and doesn't necessarily... No one will ever remember him for that.
No.
For that 2020 year. But God, was he dialed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, that's a very, very interesting... 2,500, 70%. Only 5 guys have done it.
Since 2009.
And only 2 guys in the SEC, right?
No, only 1 guy. Mac Jones.
Well, 2, Carson.
Oh, and Carson. Yeah, sorry.
So that's pretty elite company, but it's only that's a 15-year time span. It's not like a huge data sample.
It is just good when we're grouping Carson Beck's name in with those guys because they all had great. With the exception of Keaton Slovis.
Fun fact: not a single quarterback in the entire country did it in 2016.
Wow.
Not a single quarterback.
It was a pretty down year for quarterback play in 26. You had Deshaun Watson.
Career 65% completion guy.
Yeah.
Turned it over a good bit at Clemson, too.
Yeah, put it at risk. And then it was like Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson.
59%.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson had no problem about putting the ball at risk.
Yeah. None.
So my question after that stat is Georgia has this gruesome schedule, this conference schedule, I should say. This is a conference-based stat as well. Does it change anything about how you feel of the conference schedule, knowing that he did that in his first year as a starting quarterback at Georgia, add another year to this? Does it change any type of feeling?
I don't think it changed anything. I feel like it reinforces what we've already kind of been expecting, which was, hey, Carson Beck played really, really well last year for it being his first year as a starter. It feel like you can only go up from here. As good of a season it was, you feel like you can only build on that. Now, obviously, we know the schedule is what it is. It's a very difficult schedule. It's probably the most difficult Georgia schedule we've ever seen. But at the end of the day, you're going in there with a guy who's got experience under his belt. Now he's going to be more composed. He should play a lot better, and it should result in more wins for you.
I don't even remember, I don't think he played great against Tech. I don't think he played great, but didn't play bad against Bama.
Mm-hmm.
Vandy was a little bit of a slow start.
Yeah. UT Martin was a little bit of a slow start.
Auburn was a little bit of a slow start. I throw UT Martin out.
First game.
They were doing week 1 install. They weren't even running shit. But the rest of the things, I understand it. He can definitely get better, even despite that fact. He did something that only 4 people have done it in the sport since 2009. And there's obvious room for improvement, I should say. Completion percentages are, if I told you, hey, Carson's going to throw for 60, he's going to complete 68% of his balls this year. He had 6 interceptions last year. He's going to increase that by 40%. He's going to throw 10 this year. But his touchdowns are going to go up 14. Would you take that?
Absolutely.
40 touchdowns to 10 interceptions? Yes.
Well, I mean,
all right, what if I make it 12? He doubles his interceptions. Doubles his turnovers. His completion percentage drops 4%.
That's fine.
But his yardage goes up to 4,200 and he throws for 40 touchdowns. Are you taking it?
Yeah, because
you think Kirby is?
The only thing I would I don't know.
That's the question.
Only thing I would want to know is was there a volume increase? Was there a drastic increase in the amount of attempts you had that season? That sort of thing. That'd be what I would want to know.
I would take it absolutely because it shows that he is absolutely 100% comfortable with making any throw that he sees. There are a lot of times last year, and I don't want to speak for him or act like I watched every single throw he made, but there were a lot of times last year where it was it felt like he could have probably taken if you had Aaron Smith running down wide open.
I think Carson just needs to watch just highlights of Stetson before games. Maybe low lights. Maybe do it that way. Just look at all the bad mistakes he was willing to make. But look what they created. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how Stetson almost thrived in F you. I'm done. I'm cooked. Everybody thinks I'm dead. Watch. I think Stetson almost thrived that. Carson, I think Carson's more of he's best when everything's going well. Like most people. Yeah. Most people do not thrive when shit's hitting the fan. They prefer the other one. Almost felt like sometimes Stetson wanted the stadium to be anxious. I almost felt like that's what he was searching for. He's like, you know what? These people are too comfortable. I'm gonna make some balls pucker right quick.
Twitter's a little quiet
Smooth's in the chat. Shout out Smooth. Shout out Southern Dog for hitting that super sub. Says, thanks, Brooks. I really appreciate it. I really like that breakdown right there between Jack, Mike, Will, Star, safety. Look, here's the deal. I'm not 100% right on the football stuff, but I love doing that. Okay, so I think it's what I don't think. I know it's what makes us very unique. The more people I talk to that watch us and listen to us and have made a habit out of us is because of the football knowledge. They come here and they know, hey, I'm about to get 2 hours of real football talk and maybe some Cavender twin jokes. But other than that, man's going to teach me something every once in a while about football. So, we do it well here when it comes to those topics. So we appreciate that. But no, I don't necessarily feel any differently about my expectations for Georgia this year because my expectations are what they are. And whether or not that's unreasonable is our next topic.
Good segue.
I don't think the expectations are out of control at all. This is what Kirby Smart was hired to do at Georgia. He was hired to create this dynasty and hired to create this program that it felt like it was never going to stop. The end of the tunnel was not near. They were just going to keep on rolling and rolling and rolling. And that's what happens when you get these recruiting classes, when you recruit at a top 3 level every single year, when you do 3 straight seasons of undefeated regular season records. That's what was wanted out of this university, out of this program. And so with that comes the expectation that you should be competing for national titles every single year. You should be the favorite to win the national title every single year. That just comes with the territory. I don't think it's out of this realm or out of control for people to be saying that because that's how it should be. That's how it was built up to be.
You know who's got out of control expectations right now? Auburn, because their head coach is out here telling people, hey, y'all gotta chill.
Yeah.
Hugh Freeze is on national radio in the state of Alabama on a nationally syndicated station in Alabama saying, y'all gotta chill. Y'all talk about 10 wins in a college football playoff. Y'all got to chill. Shut up. Kirby's on the complete other end of this. Kirby's own expectations are to win every game and go play for a national title. I don't think he's I think he's uncomfortable if that weren't the expectations.
Yeah, I mean, those are perfectly attainable expectations. I don't think the expectations are out of control at all. I mean, Georgia has one of the best rosters in college football. They consistently recruit in the top 3 every year. They have one of the best coaches, one of the best quarterbacks. Like, to not expect anything less than a national title would be a disservice to them. I think the reaction, if those expectations don't get met,
could be out of control.
Are the ones where you start getting out of control. Like last year, ROC is an idiot because you lose the Alabama game. Like that stuff like that, where I think is where it's like you're getting out of control here. You have to understand that the high expectations you have when your expectation is to be the number 1 team, last team standing at the end of the year, that's 90% of the time going to yield disappointment because there's no other opportunity but to meet that goal. It's not, hey, let's go 8-3 and oh god, we went 10-2. That's a great season. We exceed expectations. You can't really exceed the expectations you have.
Smooth's in the chat, stoking the fires again. Smooth says, I love all the bulletin board material we're getting this offseason. Buddy, your offensive line in the entire offseason last year told everybody they were out for blood. They were so mad. They're so angry. Murder ball. We've been told all offseason Nick Saban's been getting us mad. We're turning the clock back. We're going to play real Alabama football. Y'all had shitloads of bulletin board material last year. So I think this is like... The idea of bulletin board material is goofy to me. Yeah. It always has been as an athlete. However, I do understand when somebody like calls you garbage or something like that, or looks over you. I can understand how, from an individual's perspective, I'm gonna get a little ticked off and play a little harder. I don't think it drastically sways the outcome of football games. However,
gets blown out of proportion. For sure.
A tad bit.
Every negative saying you see on social media, bulletin board material.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
The expectations, though, I don't think they're out of control because they're attainable. You know, when they're not attainable, they become out of control.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's when you don't necessarily always meet them. You're not going to win the national title every season.
Yeah.
You're not going to go 12-0 in every single regular season. You're not going to beat every team you're favored to win 2 touchdowns by 30 points. Like when stuff like that doesn't happen, that's what I think it's not as a holistically the expectations are out of control. It's when you get into individuals. Why didn't we beat South Carolina by 30 points? Why are we only up by 10 at half? Why are we trailing in the first quarter? Stuff like that. That's where I think the expectations get out of control.
Just hop in the Discord on a game day.
Oh, I don't even bother.
Patreon.com/Brooks Austin. You should bother.
Not on game day.
Definitely bother to get over there.
We're working.
And hang out
not on game
us.
day. I don't have time for that.
I got articles to write, bro.
Oh yeah. I
don't get to go take photos like you do, man.
He had been saving that one.
Yeah, he did.
I'm joking.
Boy been squatting on that one. You're right though. I hope I get so many photo creds.
I would trade
this year.
I'll sit in the press box because what I don't want to do is stay up until 3:00 in the morning or stay up afterwards.
Yeah, y'all don't want that smoke.
I don't want that.
That's the thing. Y'all sit there, y'all buy. Oh, Brooksy got his photo credentials. Look, I got to do all this work.
Nope.
Come see me at 4:00 in the morning when I'm still editing photos.
Nope.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know how I'm going to do those this year because our CMS is totally different.
Oh yeah.
We're really pulling the curtain back now. The last photo album I did on Athlon. And nobody noticed.
Can't you just add pictures still though?
Yeah, but I will have to go in and do the subtext one by one on every single one of those photos.
Yeah.
So the gallery is going to be much smaller this year.
You might just want to maybe create one major caption that covers it all.
Maybe and copy and paste
it every time.
We'll figure something out for you guys.
I'm sure the audience loves hearing about this.
Yeah, I mean, dude, have you seen some of the most famous streamers in the world nowadays? They don't do dick. We're at least out here giving folks information. So yeah, if I take 5 minutes to, fill some time talking photos before we transition into our UGA Pulling Orion Day segment, forgive me.
Light a firework in the studio.
Yeah. That was staged, by the way.
I'm sure it was, but
they bought a whole entire home to burn down for the stream.
Don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't know his name.
Kai?
I think Kai Sanat.
Oh.
Yeah, but these guys on these streams, they just sit around and do nothing. And hundreds of millions of people watch them. So I don't get it. Kids these days, am I right? Hey, UGA Pulling Orion Day. I got an email today. I want to say about noon.
Yeah.
Right after you left.
Yeah. So 2 o'clock.
Yeah, so I got an email today from the Classic City Collective saying, hey, we'd love you to come to a private practice at the University of Georgia. Private access. And I'm like, how do I do that?
Was this spam?
I thought it was spam until I
email?
started reading it, and then, maybe got in contact with Matt Hibbs, the director of the Classic City Collective, to just like make sure, like, hey, do y'all, is this, what is this?
You serious, Clark?
That kind of thing. What?
You serious, Clark?
Yeah. And he messaged back and was like, yeah, that's for real. We would love your help if you want to give it to us. So I did. Instead of finding the email, let me find the article. Georgia football allowing fans at practice. Here's how. All right. So Georgia's NIL collective, the Classic City Collective, began back in the earliest stages of NIL passing. Georgia football practice. Oh, I slid this one in. Georgia football practices have been notoriously closed to the media, apart from the occasional 15-minute viewing window, and fans alike at the University of Georgia since Kirby Smart has taken over and created a dynasty in Athens, essentially. Now, if you want to watch the Bulldogs practice, you'd better be a top recruit or primary booster. That is no more, thanks to the Classic City Collective. The following is a letter from the Classic City Collective. Dear fellow dog fan, the Classic City Collective is excited to partner with the UGA Athletic Association to offer exclusive access to a 2024 Georgia football preseason practice on Sunday, August 4th, 2 p.m. Complimentary tickets are available to this practice for any fan who joins the Classic City Collective. Members of the Varsity Club, which is their lower maintenance, I think it's $21 a month. $21 a month will get 2 tickets to this practice, and members of the Silver Britches level, which is $42 a month, are eligible for up to 5 tickets. Following your enrollment, you will receive an email that includes information on claiming your tickets. So here's what I would do. If I wanted to see a Georgia practice, me and my son, maybe me and my wife, my 3 kids, it's 5 tickets. Give them $42 a month for the next 2 months, and then,
Yeah.
Oh, I got a new credit card. I forgot. My bad. Don't do that to Patreon. But if you want to go to a practice, don't do that to Patreon. But if you want to go to a practice, maybe you can. I think this is pretty cool. I also think this is confirmation that Georgia's football program listens to the show because we talked about this. We talked about this spring when Ryan Day had a gajillion Ohio State fans on the sidelines of every single one of his spring practices. How much of a money raiser could you get with this type of stuff? You want to watch Georgia practice, give me X amount of dollars, and you get in. Your ticket admission to practice is $50, $21, whatever it is, charge it, run it up, offer it every week, because I guarantee you people are going to buy this in droves.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see this day.
Really?
I will with the NIL stuff and all the roster acquisition it costs to kind of maintain your roster.
How many conversations do you think Matt Hibbs had to have with Kirby to allow this?
Oh, dude. When I read it, I was like, there's no way. Kirby would never allow this.
Kirby tweeted it today.
That's
Yeah, he did. I never thought I'd see this day where it was only going to cost me $42.
21.
$21 a month. Got to do it for
a couple months.
Yeah, for a couple months. Like $42 at the cheapest, but like $42 to go watch a Georgia football practice, dude. That's a better admission, in my opinion, than any football game you could ever go to.
Sean Camp asked a question that I'm afraid to answer because the IRS might be listening. How would I go about joining the Hunker Down Club under my business name? I don't know. I don't have an LLC.
Tax advice?
I would never have an LLC. Why would I do that? Why would I take shortcuts around the tax man? That's not me. No, says I. Great idea here. I think it is going to influx their revenue streams with a good bit of money here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll find out though. Do you think they're going to let them watch the whole practice? Also, as a media member, if I were to go in there and pay that $21, $42, do I get my credentials pulled?
I don't know, because I was going to say, like, I don't know, because I don't know if there's like conflict of interest of like giving.
It would have to be.
Yeah, I would think so
imagine
too.
It would have to be.
I think so too.
But this is so anti-Kirby. One of the very first things I was told about Kirby and his relations with the media and his relations with just general privacy around his practice. There was a recruiting kind of like weekend, in one of his first weeks of recruiting when he got to Georgia. And he turned around. I think it might have been Fromm, one of the quarterbacks he was recruiting at the time, maybe even Eason, but Eason was already there. So it could have been Eason. Probably Fromm. Turned around and Fromm had like 30 reporters around him. People asking him questions left and right, taking photos of him. He can't even fucking walk because all these media members around him. And Kirby was like, that's it. These MFers are not allowed anywhere. Okay? Unless you force me to allow them to come to practice for 15 minutes, that's it. But they are not allowed on campus during 7-on-7s during the summer. They are not allowed every week during practice. They are damn sure not allowed at every practice like they do at every other school. Okay? There are only 2 schools in college football that I know of that do it this way. And there's only one now. It's Georgia. And it was Alabama under Nick Saban. And they just don't do it like that anymore. This is it. This is the only school where they're like this. And I know it was like this because there was kind of a beefing between Florida State beat reporters and Georgia beat reporters during bowl game. Because we go down there and bowls, they make you allow practice availability to the media. There's no option. You have to give it to them every single day you're out there. And all these Florida State guys are like in our way. They're like skipping line, getting in front. And we're like, me and Jake Roba had it out with a dude. Like, and oh man, forget Buddy's name from Channel 2. Either way.
Zach Klein.
Me, Zach Klein, and Jake Rowe are like, we're about to get into it with this damn photographer from Florida because he's just walking around like he owns the damn place. And what he didn't realize was that was our 3rd time seeing those guys all year at practice. We got twice during camp and then once during the bowl game, or twice during the bowl game. And the second day, they were doing yoga or some shit. So like, he plays with us all the time. He messes with us all the time in these things. But like, I get it. I've always said after every single one of those rants, when people are like, Brooks is bitching about Kurt. Nope, I do it the same way. I would do it the same exact way. You wouldn't hear shit from me unless my AD or unless my, sports information director, unless that guy told me I had to contractually miss me with all that.
We have a business opportunity of our own in the chat.
Word?
Michael wants to know how much to come in and sit in on a live broadcast.
Mike's done enough for this network. Mike's done plenty for this network. However, you don't have to worry about that because I've been talking to Creature Comforts about doing another show out there in person in Athens. So you don't have to pay us. You can pay Creature by way of lubrication and liquidation.
Nice.
So there's that.
Love that.
I'll get you a date on that eventually. I'm trying. Apparently, Players Lounge has all Saturdays booked up. So, Aaron, if you're listening, and I know your schedule's busy, so much so that you're dodging the chooch. I know your schedule's busy. I know during the fall, you're going to be somewhere on Saturday calling a football game. I also know that Players Lounge has those Saturdays booked in Athens at Creatures Comforts. If you need some talent, if you need some entertainment, the boys. We're right here, okay? And we'd be more than willing to take it off your hands. So there's that. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.